Chapter 482. The next day, after Mu Jianfeng and Yi Kuan left, Charlotte summoned all the employees of the Thunder Horse military factory to the big conference room. In front of him was a large stack of blueprints, as well as the plan that Anina had spent almost a month to complete. Anina sat next to Charlotte and Qin Xiang. When Charlotte was not in the Thunder Horse military factory, Qin Xiang was in charge of people, and Anina was in charge of production and technical support. Both of them played very important roles. After everyone was present, Charlotte raised his hand to signal for everyone to be quiet. The hundreds of people in the big conference room quieted down in the blink of an eye, and the whole scene was silent. Charlotte said, "I called everyone here today because I have a very important thing to announce. A large-scale weapons exhibition is about to be held in the country, with both light and heavy weapons. We don't need to pay attention to the heavy weapons field, but in the light weapons field, this time our goal is to win the military's super big order with hundreds of Hanwoo weapons companies." After Charlotte finished speaking, the conference room was immediately filled with discussion. What Charlotte announced was also very important to them, because it was related to the development of the Thunder Horse military factory, and it was also related to their income. Charlotte's gaze quickly swept across everyone in the big conference room, observing everyone's reaction. There were so many people in the Thunder Horse military factory, and he could not guarantee that everyone was loyal to the Thunder Horse military factory. Although he had eliminated many commercial spies who had been bribed by Hanwoo Weapons Company and Shinjo Industry Group last time, it was hard to guarantee that Shinjo Industry Group and Hanwoo Weapons Company would not have the same idea again and bribe his people again. It was inconceivable for a person to observe the changes in expressions and psychological reactions of hundreds of people, and no one could do such a thing. However, Charlotte was the only one. His left eye swept across the faces, and he memorized each and every one of them. His brain cooperated with his left eye, quickly appearing one face after another, comparing and analyzing, looking for possible targets. In less than 5 minutes, Charlotte identified 2 suspicious targets in this way. A man was quietly recording with his cell phone. There was a woman. She was more excited than the people around her, but she pretended to be calm. Her eyes were fixed on the blueprints and plans in front of Charlotte. Charlotte saw this, but his expression did not change. He continued, "There are still about 20 days until the weapons exhibition. During this time, we need to shift 60% of our production capacity to the production of new weapons. We need to bring these weapons to the exhibition and get an order from the military." "Director Xiao, what new weapon?" An old engineer said, "We don't know anything." Charlotte said, "I'll tell you later." As he spoke, he quietly observed the 2 targets that he had selected. Sure enough, the expressions of the 2 men changed very obviously. The man moved his phone forward as if he wanted to record what he was going to say next. The woman adjusted the front of her shirt. This was a very normal action, but there was actually a pinhole camera hidden in the button on her chest. She could not hold it in any longer and began to record the scene of him presiding over the meeting. The man and the woman were waiting for Charlotte to announce what new weapon it was and the production plan of the Thunder Horse military factory, but Charlotte did not say anything. Charlotte picked up the glass of water on the conference table and covered his mouth with it. He lowered his voice and said to Qin Xiang next to him, "Qin Xiang, the 5th in the 3rd row male, the 2nd in the 5th row female. These 2 people are commercial spies of Hanwoo Weapons Company and Shinjo Industrial Group. You call Lu Shang in and bring a few people to take these 2 people away." "Ah." Qin Xiang looked very surprised. "How do you know?" "Don't worry about it. Just do as I say." Charlotte put down the glass of water. Qin Xiang also got up and left the conference room. Many people in the conference room were anxious to know what new weapon it was. More and more people asked, but Charlotte did not say anything. It was noisy in the conference room, but Charlotte did not stop it. A few minutes later, Lu Shang came in with 2 security guards. Lu Shang glanced at Charlotte, and Charlotte nodded. Lu Shang received the order. Without another word, he led his men to capture the 2 commercial spies discovered by Xia Lei and push them out of the conference room. "What do you want to do?" The man panicked and shouted, "Chairman Xiao, what do you mean? I'm a dutiful person. I work here honestly. Why do you treat me like this? The woman also cried and said, Chairman Xia, you wronged a good person. I didn't do anything wrong to the company. Charlotte sneered and said, You know what you two have done? I quit. Let me go, I want to quit. The man roared, Yes, I also want to quit. At worst, I won't do it. The woman also made a scene. There was a sudden burst of discussion in the conference room. No one expected such a thing to happen, and most people did not know why Charlotte did this. Some people who were familiar with the two even began to sympathize with them and had biased remarks. Charlotte slapped the table and pointed at the two commercial spies. He angrily said, I've treated you well, but you actually stole the company's secrets. Let me tell you, what you stole is state secrets. Just wait to go to jail. After a pause, he said again, Lu Sheng, take off his mobile phone and the second button under the woman's collar. Those are the evidence. Lu Sheng did as he was told. The man's mobile phone and the woman's button were placed in front of Charlotte. At this time, the conference room quieted down again. If Charlotte did this for no reason, people would certainly not accept it. But if there was evidence, it would be a different matter. No one would sympathize with these commercial spies. Charlotte showed the recording on the mobile phone and the woman's pinhole camera. He wanted to let his employees see that this was the consequence of being a commercial spy. Charlotte's move really subdued everyone. That's right, with this method and this courage, who would dare to have crooked thoughts? Okay, I'll deal with the two commercial spies. Don't worry about those two traitors anymore. Let's continue the meeting. Charlotte shifted the topic to the meeting. The meeting lasted for an hour, and there were several discussions. When the meeting was about to end, Charlotte made another announcement. From now on, everyone will live in the factory. Before the weapons exhibition starts, we'll have to work overtime to produce the Storm assault rifle. The conference room was filled with discussions again. Charlotte raised his hand to quiet the conference room down. Then he said, For more than 20 days, you'll have to work very hard, but you won't work for nothing. I've decided to double your salary during the overtime period, plus a bonus of 10,000 yuan. On the day when the overtime ends, the finance department will give you this bonus. The employees originally had objections, but when Xiao Lei made the announcement, how could they still have any objections? Suddenly, they burst into cheers. Working overtime for more than 20 days, not only would their salary be doubled, but they would also get a bonus of 10,000 yuan. Who wouldn't be willing to work outside? At the end of the meeting, Charlotte came to the security department. The two commercial spies were dejected and didn't dare to look at Charlotte. Lu Sheng said, Director Xia, this man is called Wu Bin, and this woman is called Hu Hui. I asked them, but they didn't say anything. How do you want to deal with this? I'll deal with it. Charlotte looked at Wu Bin and Hu Hui and said, Don't think that the Xinzhou Industry Group and Hanwu Weapons Company will protect you. I've got your evidence, and now they're eager to cut off their relationship with you. Don't you understand? Now, no matter how I deal with you, they won't care about you. Wu Bin and Hu Hui quietly looked at each other, but still didn't speak. Charlotte said, Well, I'm willing to give you a chance. If you cooperate with me, not only can you get the money from the Xinzhou Industry Group and Hanwu Weapons Company, you may even get some benefits from me. Director Xia, Wu Bin hesitated for a moment and then said, I'm willing to cooperate with you. Hu Hui was afraid of falling behind, so she also said, Director Xia, I'm also willing to cooperate with you. I was also forced to do so. There's a sick child at home who needs an operation fee. I'm sorry to you and the company. Charlotte sighed. I understand you. Who doesn't have difficulties in life? Tell me, who was bought by the Hanwu Weapons Company and who was bought by the Xinzhou Industry Group? The person who contacted me was from the Hanwu Weapons Company. Wu Bin said. He gave me 100,000 yuan. He also said that if I got valuable information, he would give me another 100,000 yuan. Hu Hui lowered her head and said, The person who contacted me was from the Xinzhou Industry Group. He gave me 90,000 yuan and said that as long as I collected information for them, he would give me more money in the future. After the two finished talking, Lu Sheng said angrily, You two idiots! The salary that Director Xia gives you is more than this amount, not to mention the 5 insurances and 1 housing fund. Your conscience has been eaten by dogs. Hu Hui and Wu Bin both lowered their heads and felt ashamed. They thought that they would not be discovered and that it would be a waste not to earn this money. They did not expect that they would be caught by Charlotte inexplicably. Charlotte thought for a moment and said, "Well, I'll give you some information. You give it to the Shinjo Industry Group and the Hanwoo Weapons Company, and the money you earn will belong to you. After that, you can resign and I won't hold you responsible. What do you think?" Wu Bin and Hu Hui were stunned for a moment. They did not expect that Charlotte would give them such a punishment. Lu Sheng scolded. "Director Xia asked you a question." Wu Bin trembled and then said, "I'm willing. What information does Director Xia want me to give to the Hanwoo Weapons Company?" Charlotte said, "That's none of your business. Give them whatever I give you." I'm willing too." Hu Hui also expressed her position. Charlotte then said to Lu Sheng, "Brother Sheng, find 2 rooms for them and arrange people to watch them. When they contact the Shinjo Industry Group and the Hanwoo Weapons Company, our people have to be there." Lu Sheng nodded and said, "Don't worry, I know what to do." Charlotte said, "Remember, you too, this is your only chance. If you play tricks again, you'll go to jail." Hu Hui suddenly knelt on the ground and cried, "Director Xia, I won't do stupid things anymore. I'll do whatever you want me to do." Wu Bin did not say anything, but also knelt in front of Charlotte. Charlotte sneered in his heart. "Mu Jianfeng, Yi Kuan, you want my business secrets? Fine, I'll give you my business secrets." Chapter 483. A week later, Hanwoo Weapons Company headquarters in the capital, chairman's office. Yi Kuan very respectfully poured a cup of Anshi Tai Guanyin for the visiting teacher, Mu Jianfeng, and then sat opposite Mu Jianfeng. "Teacher, what do you mean by that?" Mu Jianfeng took a sip of tea and said with a smile, "Ah Kuan, what do you mean by that? I don't understand." Yi Kuan smiled and said, "You are my teacher. Don't you understand what I'm saying?" Mu Jianfeng continued to drink tea and did not say anything. Yi Kuan smiled again. "Teacher, I'll tell you the truth. I asked someone to place a chess piece in the Thunder Horse military factory, but it's been a week and there's no news. It's getting closer and closer to the domestic weapons exhibition. I'm getting anxious." Mu Jianfeng said lightly, "You placed a chess piece in the Thunder Horse military factory. Do you think I also placed a chess piece in the Thunder Horse military factory? You still want to ask me if there's any movement? If I received any information, why would I still come here?" This was equivalent to admitting that he had also placed a commercial spy in the Thunder Horse military factory. Yi Kuan frowned. "Sigh, it seems that teacher's people didn't get any information. Charlotte didn't let the workers out during this period of time, nor did he let anyone in. He must have made a move. That's what I'm worried about. That kid is very cunning. I'm afraid that he'll surprise everyone like last time in Moscow." Mu Jianfeng sighed. "I'm worried too. That kid is really unpredictable. Teacher, it's better on your side. After all, you guys make heavy weapons and equipment, but my side is the first to bear the brunt. Our Hanwoo Weapons Company also makes light weapons. This time, if we let that kid beat us, the consequences will be unimaginable. That kid is not only a threat to your Hanwoo Weapons Company, but we also feel threatened. Although we make heavy equipment, once that kid develops the Thunder Horse military factory, who can guarantee that he won't make heavy equipment? Besides, you're my student. If you lose to him, I won't have any face." Mu Jianfeng sighed again. "If the lips are gone, the teeth are cold. Why don't we go to the Thunder Horse military factory to take a look?" Yi Kuan said, "We'll use the same reason as last time." Mu Jianfeng shook his head. "He's already on guard, so there's no point in going. Besides, don't tell me you didn't embarrass yourself enough last time. I still have to go." Yi Kuan suddenly thought of something. "Teacher, tell me, what's going on with the villa in the Thunder Horse military factory? Those soldiers don't even respect you. There must be something strange about that villa. For us, the worst outcome is that the higher-ups have handed over some important project to the Thunder Horse military factory to study." Yi Kuan said, "That's right. Now that you've mentioned it, I think so too. If there were no important projects, why would those soldiers be so confident? Old Ginger was indeed spicier, but no matter how smart and cunning Mu Jianfeng was, he couldn't guess that it was ancient alloy. At this time, a young woman appeared at the door of the office. Seeing Mu Jianfeng, she greeted him politely. "Hello, Elder Mu." "Elder Mu, you are getting younger and younger." Mu Jianfeng just nodded lightly, indicating that he had heard it. Yi Kuan said, "Little Qi, what's the matter?" The woman called Little Qi was Yi Kuan's secretary. She didn't speak immediately, but glanced at Mu Jianfeng. Mu Jianfeng suddenly frowned. "What? Do you want me to avoid it?" Yi Kuan then said, "Little Qi, are you stupid or something? Elder Mu is my teacher. What can't be said in front of him? It's okay. No matter what it is, just say it." Little Qi then said, "The man named Wu Bin just called and said that he got something. He has already found a way to sneak out and is ready to send it over. He also asked me to meet in the coffee shop opposite our company. Well, he also asked me to prepare 1 million. 1 million? Yi Kuan sneered. He really dares to ask. Wait, Mu Jianfeng said. Did he say what he got? If it's valuable, what's 1 million? Secretary Qi said, I asked him. He simply said that he got a new type of rifle that the Thunder Horse military factory is producing. He has already got the blueprints and related technical data. As soon as this sentence came out, Yi Kuan and Mu Jianfeng's eyes suddenly lit up. When will he arrive? Yi Kuan said excitedly. He is already on his way. Secretary Qi said. Yi Kuan patted his thigh and laughed. Charlotte, although you are very smart, this time you also fell in the ditch. After a pause, he said loudly, Little Qi, go to the finance department and withdraw 1 million in cash immediately. I will go and trade with Wu Bin personally. I'll go right away. Little Qi turned around and left. Wait a minute. Mu Jianfeng stopped Little Qi. That Wu Bin, did you buy him? Secretary Qi nodded. Yes, I did. I spent a lot of effort to buy him. What does Wu Bin do in the Thunder Horse military factory? He is from the R&D department of the Thunder Horse military factory. Little Qi said with a smile, Elder Mu, I definitely won't buy a cook and sweep the floor. Don't worry, he has a chance to get in touch with Charlotte's design drawings. Mu Jianfeng said, It's better to be careful. Such an important thing suddenly came to us. I always feel that. Yi Kuan interrupted Mu Jianfeng's words. Teacher, last time both of us bought a lot of people from the Thunder Horse military factory. With the last experience, Little Qi did it very secretly this time, and only bought one person. Charlotte is not a god. He can't find out at all. There's movement on your side. Mu Jianfeng knew the name of the commercial spy who was bought, Hu Hui, but Hu Hui had not sent anything valuable. Yi Kuan said, Teacher, this situation shows that there is no problem. Think about it. If all the commercial spies we bought got the drawings, then there will be a problem. Now only Wu Bin got it and came to trade. How can we miss this opportunity? Mu Jianfeng thought for a moment. Don't do it yourself. Let your secretary do it. Yi Kuan smiled. Teacher, you are too careful. Well, I will listen to you. Little Qi, you take the money to complete the transaction. Remember, you must get the drawings back to me no matter what. If you succeed, you will be rewarded. Thank you, Chairman Yi. Secretary Little Qi left happily. In the office, Mu Jianfeng continued to drink tea, but Yi Kuan walked around anxiously. Calm down. Mu Jianfeng said, At times like this, you have to be even more calm. Yi Kuan smiled. Teacher is right, but I really can't calm down. The Thunder Horse military factory's XL 2500 sniper rifle shocked the world, and we can't copy it until now. Now that Charlotte has designed a new rifle, I am sure he is aiming for this weapons exhibition and the big order from the military. Tell me, in my position, would I be able to remain calm? What are you going to do after getting the drawings and technical parameters? Mu Jianfeng asked. Yi Kuan didn't even think about it, and said, Of course, we will work overtime to produce it. Our production capacity is dozens of times that of the Thunder Horse military factory. In half a month, we can produce a large number of Thunder Horse military factory's new rifles. At that time, if he dares to bring the same gun to the exhibition, I will sue him for infringement and plagiarism, and also for stealing our company's patented design. Once we start a lawsuit with the Thunder Horse Military Factory, I will make that kid suffer. Brilliant. Mu Jianfeng also smiled. Your plan is very good, but we have to add one more thing. Add one more, what? First, confirm the correctness and authenticity of the drawings and technical parameters. Both of us have technicians, so we can quickly analyze it. If the Thunder Horse Military Factory's new rifle is very good, then we will follow your plan. If it is mediocre, then there is no need to produce it. Mu Jianfeng said, Teacher, you are so thoughtful. It is not that I am thoughtful, but I am calmer than you. The office rang with the laughter of two men. Half an hour later, Wu Bin appeared at the entrance of the coffee shop opposite the Hanwu Weapons Company headquarters building. He looked around and then entered the coffee shop. Almost at the same time, Secretary Little Chi also appeared. She carried a black suitcase into the coffee shop. This scene was seen by Yi Kuan and Mu Jianfeng in front of the floor-to-ceiling window of the office with binoculars. In the coffee shop, Wu Bin chose a table by the window and sat down. He was carrying a black briefcase in his hand. Even when the waiter came to ask him what he wanted, he did not put down the briefcase. Before the waiter left, Little Chi sat opposite Wu Bin and said casually, "A cup of cappuccino and a chocolate dessert. Thank you." "Okay, miss, please wait a moment." The waiter left. Little Chi went straight to the point and said, "Did you bring the things?" Wu Bin nodded. "Did you bring the money?" "Yes, you really have a big appetite. You want so much money at one time." Little Chi showed a dissatisfied look. Wu Bin said, "You don't know how much risk I took to steal the blueprint. I definitely don't dare to go back. I have to use this money to support my family. Of course I want more. If you don't agree, I will leave immediately. There are many people who want this kind of blueprint. I may be able to sell it for a higher price." "All right, that's enough. Show me the blueprint," Little Chi urged. "Show me the money." Wu Bin looked very cautious. "Don't you trust me?" Little Chi rolled her eyes at Wu Bin. She put the lockbox on the table and unlocked it. Then she turned the box and showed it to Wu Bin. The lockbox contained bundles of nouveau riche coins that had just been released. Wu Bin stared at the new coins in the lockbox, his eyes shining. Xiao Qi closed the password-protected box and put it at his feet. He said sarcastically, "Don't tell me you still want to count." Wu Bin said, No, I trust the people of Hanwu Weapons Company. "Then why don't you show me the things?" Little Chi was very anxious. Wu Bin handed the briefcase to Little Chi. Little Chi opened it and saw a stack of blueprints and related technical parameters. She had seen many of these things when she worked at Hanwu Weapons Company. She quickly confirmed that these blueprints were authentic. She kicked the lockbox from under the table to Wu Bin's feet. Then she took Wu Bin's briefcase and left. "Miss, your coffee and snacks." The waiter brought up the things that Wu Bin and Little Chi ordered. Little Chi didn't even look back. At this moment, she wanted to have 4 legs and run to Yi Kuan to ask for credit. She was not in the mood to drink coffee. Wu Bin also left the coffee shop. After walking across the street, he took out his mobile phone and dialed a number. "Chairman Xia, I have done as you instructed." Charlotte's voice came from the phone. "Give the money to Hu Hui and get out of here." Chapter 484. 5 minutes ago, the secretary, Xiao Qi, walked out of the cafe. The winter sun shone on her face. It was warm, and her smile was brighter than the sun. Her mood was as bright as the sun. She was already looking forward to the benefits that the deal would bring her, such as a promotion, a raise, or a $1 million bonus. In a moment of carelessness, Xiao Qi bumped into a man. The briefcase in her hand fell to the ground, and her body fell backward. The man took a step forward and wrapped his arms around her waist. His arm was strong, and he didn't let her fall to the ground. Only then did Xiao Qi clearly see the man who was hugging her. He had a handsome face and a beautifully trimmed beard on his upper lip. Coupled with his strong physique, this man looked mature and sexy. Moreover, he was wearing a Giorgio Armani suit and a limited edition Patek Philippe watch worth millions. His whole person was full of elegant, aristocratic aura. Their eyes met, and in that instant, Xiao Qi's heart began to beat wildly. He was mature, sexy, handsome, and successful. Such a man would be hit on even if he squatted on the side of the road eating pancakes. Such a man could capture a woman's heart as easily as taking something out of his pocket. "Are you all right, miss?" the man said with concern, but he still kept his arms around her waist. They seemed to be dancing Aladdin dance, and they were fixed in that position. "I'm fine." "You." Xiao-Qi blushed. The man had been maintaining that position with her, which made her flustered and nervous. I'm sorry." The man helped Xiao-Qi up, but in the process, he placed a flat object in the back collar of Xiao-Qi's suit. He was so fast that Xiao-Qi didn't feel anything. Xiao-Qi suddenly thought of something and picked up the briefcase on the ground. The man smiled gently. "Miss, you're like a friend of mine. May I take the liberty of asking you for a phone number?" Xiao-Qi was dazed. She couldn't help feeling delighted, but she pretended to be reserved. "Sir, is this how you talk to girls? We don't even know each other, and you're asking me for my phone number? I'm not the kind of woman you think I am." The man said sincerely, "I'm not lying to you. I'll show you something." "What?" Little Chi's curiosity was piqued. The man took out a wallet and opened it. Inside the wallet was a picture that looked very old. In the photo, a man and a woman had their heads together, and they were smiling brightly. Behind them was an Egyptian pyramid. It was easy to see that this was a photograph taken during a trip. Xiao-Qi's gaze fell on the woman in the photo. She was stunned. This woman actually looked 70% to 80% similar to her. The only difference was that the woman in the photo was slightly older than her. The man sighed, his eyes full of sadness. "Miss, to tell you the truth, her name is Kyoko Minako. She is my girlfriend. However, 2 years ago, when we were in Iraq, we were attacked, and unfortunately, she passed away." "Your girlfriend is Japanese?" Little Chi looked surprised. The man suddenly bowed to Xiao-Qi. "I am also Japanese. My name is Kato Kawasuki. I do international trade. This time, I came to China because of business matters, but I didn't expect to meet you. When I saw you, I thought of Kyoko Minako. Miss, please give me a chance to be friends with you." Xiao-Qi giggled. "Sir, your Chinese is so fluent. I didn't expect you to be Japanese." The man said in Japanese, "I've liked China's culture since I was a child. I started learning Chinese when I was very young. In addition, half of the blood in my body is Han blood, because my mother is a Han. Therefore, I have a natural sense of intimacy with Han women." Xiao-Qi was stunned. She couldn't understand what he was saying. The man translated it in Chinese and then added, "Miss, please give me a chance to get to know you. Well, seeing that you are so sincere, I'll promise you. This is my business card. I get off work at 5 o'clock today." Xiao-Qi handed the man a business card. On the business card was her full name, Yi Xiao-Qi, and her phone number. The man kept the business card and bowed to Yi Xiao-Qi again. "Thank you, Miss Yi." Yi Xiao-Qi pursed her lips and smiled. "Just call me Xiao-Qi. I'll wait for your call. I have to go work now. Goodbye, Mr. Kato Kawasuki." The man smiled and nodded. He watched Yi Xiao-Qi cross the street and enter the headquarters of Hanwoo Weapons Company. Ring, 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 ring. The man's cell phone rang. The man took out his phone and answered the call. He only said one sentence. "Give the money to Hu Hui for 400,000 and get lost." This handsome and sexy man was none other than Charlotte. Yi Kuan and Mu Jianfeng played a spy game with him. It happened once before and now again. He was already tired of being on the defensive. This time, he wanted to take the initiative. Didn't Yi Kuan and Mu Jianfeng like to play spy games? As the ace consultant of 101 innings, if he didn't show his skills, he would not be able to explain himself. Charlotte had already found out who Yi Kuan's current secretary was. The photo in the wallet was also photoshopped by him. As for the identity of Kato Kawasuki, it was just a way to get used to it. After all, he had to use this identity the next time he went to Japan. After hanging up the phone, Charlotte entered the cafe and went straight to the table where Wu Bin and Yi Kuan's wooden comb were traded. He sat down and ordered a latte. After the waiter left, he took out a pinhole camera from a pot of green plant next to the table and put it in his pocket. He was the one who arranged the trading location for Wu Bin. Even the seats were reserved. Just now, the whole process of Wu Bin and Yi Kuan's secretary's transaction had been recorded by this pinhole camera. This video would play a very important role in his plan. The waiter came with a latte. Charlotte drank his coffee and looked across the street at the headquarters of Hanwoo Weapons Company. Yi Kun was in this building, but he could not find Yi Kun in a building that was dozens of floors high. However, the bug he had secretly placed on Yi Xiaoqi could bring him what he wanted. Charlotte took a sip of coffee, put on his headphones, and quietly waited for Yi Xiaoqi and Yi Kun to meet. Hanwoo Weapons Company headquarters. Yi Xiaoqi walked out of the elevator. She could not help but think of the handsome Kato Kawasuki. She could not help but laugh. What kind of luck do I have? My career brought me new opportunities, and I even met a big fish. He's an international trade. Looking at his clothes, he's probably worth hundreds of millions, right? And he's so handsome and sexy. Today must be my lucky day. Arriving at Yi Kun's office, Yi Xiaoqi reached out and knocked on the door. Come in. Yi Kun's voice came from the door. Yi Xiaoqi took a deep breath and shifted her attention to the matter at hand. She pushed the door open and walked in. Chairman Yi, Elder Mu, I've brought the things back. I've checked, it's real. Quick, bring it over for me to see. Yi Kun could not sit still and excitedly greeted her. The blueprints in the briefcase were placed on Yi Kun's desk. It was the blueprints of the blast assault rifle and the relevant technical parameters. Yi Kun and Mu Jianfeng gathered in front of the desk and flipped through the blueprints. A few minutes later, Yi Kun suddenly laughed. Although that kid Charlotte is our opponent, I have to admire him. This kid is really a genius in machinery. Just this blueprint alone is already a lot more advanced than the rifles that our Hanwoo Weapons Company has designed. Mu Jianfeng was very cautious at first, but after looking at the shooting blueprints of the blast assault rifle, he completely believed that the blueprints were real. He and Yi Kun had climbed up step by step from the bottom, so they still had professional knowledge. It was this professional knowledge that allowed him to smell a huge business opportunity. Yi Kun, there's no need to organize experts to appraise it anymore. This gun can be made, Mu Jianfeng said. This gun is a new type of rifle that our two companies have jointly developed. Give it a new name. Yi Kun looked at Mu Jianfeng blankly and did not speak. Mu Jianfeng smiled. Yi Kun, are you not willing? Teacher, know this. Yi Kun's heart was definitely not willing to give away a piece of the fat meat that was already in his hands. But he could not reject Mu Jianfeng, because Mu Jianfeng was not only his teacher, but he was also indebted to him. Mu Jianfeng said lightly, both of our companies have bribed Thunder Horse Military Factory's commercial spies. Your commercial spies succeeded, mine did not. Then let's do it this way. Your Hanwoo Weapons Company will take 60%, and our Shenzhou Industry Group will take 40%. Yi Kun hesitated for a moment and finally nodded. Then let's do it this way. You're my teacher after all. I've always thought highly of you. You have me in your heart, so it's not in vain that I helped you back then. Mu Jianfeng said with a smile. Teacher, since it's a collaboration between our two companies, I'll call this assault rifle the Shenwu assault rifle. Take one word from each of our companies. Yi Kun said. Shenwu, that's a good name. Let's use this name. Mu Jianfeng was very happy. I'll call the patent office immediately and apply for a patent to block off Charlotte's escape route. Speed is important in war. Teacher is still the best. Yi Kun flattered Mu Jianfeng. Mu Jianfeng used the phone on his desk to make a call. Yi Kun glanced at Yi Xiaoqi and said lightly, what are you still doing here? Go and do your work. Yi Xiaoqi wanted to say something, but stopped. All right, you did a good job this time. I'll get the finance department to give you a bonus of 50,000 yuan. Yi Kun, of course, understood why Yi Xiaoqi was still standing there. 50,000 yuan? All of Yi Xiaoqi's expectations were shattered to pieces. Yi Kun immediately frowned. You think it's too little? No. I'll go and do my work. Thank you, Chairman Yi. Yi Xiaoqi turned around and left. She secretly cursed Yi Kun's family in her heart. F*CKU. I helped you get such an important blueprint, and you only gave me 50,000 yuan as a bonus. Do you think I'm a beggar? Your whole family will die a horrible death. When you get off work, you get into a car accident and get run over by a truck. Your head is your head, your hands are your hands, and your feet are your feet. You'll die without a complete corpse. A woman's heart was the most vicious. Chapter 485. At 5:10 in the afternoon, Yi Xiaoqi appeared in the underground parking lot. She pressed the remote control, and a champagne-colored BMW 520 Li sounded its horn and flashed its lights. She walked over with her long legs, ready to drive home. No promotion, 50,000 yuan bonus. Yi Kuan, go to hell. Until then, Yi Xiaoqi was still cursing Yi Kuan. When she came to the car, Yi Xiaoqi did not move because there was a red Ferrari FF 4-seater supercar parked next to her BMW 520 Li. BMW was also considered a world-class brand, but compared to this Ferrari FF, her 520 Li was simply a battery-powered car. The whole car might not be able to exchange for one wheel of the Ferrari FF. If only I had one. Yi Xiaoqi could not help but imagine the scene of driving this Ferrari FF supercar. At this time, the window of the Ferrari FF suddenly rolled down, and a handsome face poked out of the window, looking at Yi Xiaoqi with a smile. "Mr. Kato Hasuk, you..." Yi Xiaoqi covered her mouth, too excited to speak. Charlotte said with a smile, "Miss Yi, we meet again." Yi Xiaoqi recovered and gave Charlotte a charming smile. "Mr. Kato Hasuk, why didn't you call me? Didn't we agree that I waited for your call all afternoon?" Charlotte's voice was full of magnetism. "Compared to calling you, I think it is more sincere for me to wait for you to get off work here. So, I gave a tip to the security guard here, and he brought me here. I've been waiting for you here." "I don't care," Yi Xiaoqi said coquettishly. "I waited for you all afternoon, and you didn't call me. I want you to compensate me." "No problem, get in the car. I'll treat you to a meal, and then we can talk about compensation, okay?" Charlotte reached out and opened the door of the passenger seat for Yi Xiaoqi. Yi Xiaoqi looked at her BMW 520 Li and then looked at Charlotte's Ferrari FF. She only hesitated for a second, and then she got into Charlotte's car. Some women would rather cry in a BMW than smile while sitting on a bicycle. But she was the kind of woman who would rather laugh in a Ferrari than cry in a BMW. The Ferrari FF roared and drove out of the underground parking lot, carrying Yi Xiaoqi into the traffic. The headquarters of the Hanwu Weapons Company was left behind, gradually disappearing from view. As for Yi Xiaoqi, she no longer cared about the Hanwu Weapons Company. Her heart was filled with beautiful dreams. What's the big deal about losing the dream of a promotion and a raise? The most important thing is to get a rich guy like Kato Hasuk. Half an hour later, the Ferrari FF arrived at the Capitol Hilton Hotel. Charlotte handed the car to the coach boy, then led Yi Xiaoqi into the hotel and to a Western restaurant. Charlotte ordered French foie gras and French truffles, paired with French steak and French Lafite red wine. It gave people the feeling of being in France and eating a French feast. Yi Xiaoqi looked at the dishes and wine served by the waiter and was surprised. This meal cost at least tens of thousands of yuan. Although she was also a woman who had seen the world and had a good income, hundreds of thousands a year, she did not dare to eat such Western food. Charlotte did not even look at the dishes and wine on the table. He held his chin and looked at Yi Xiaoqi quietly. His eyes were gentle and affectionate, with a trace of sadness. This was the so-called hesitant look. "Mr. Kato Hasuk, why are you looking at me like this?" Yi Xiaoqi was very happy in her heart, but she pretended to be shy. Charlotte came back to his senses. He quickly sat up straight, bowed his head, and apologized to Yi Xiaoqi. "I'm sorry. I made Miss Yi uncomfortable." Yi Xiaoqi smiled and said, "Mr. Kato Hasuk, are you Japanese so polite?" Charlotte said, "No. Many people in Japan are actually very rude. You are an exception, aren't you?" Charlotte smiled and said, "I was greatly influenced by my mother. She taught me to be polite, humble, and gentle to women. Your mother is so nice. If she sees you, she will be very happy," Charlotte said. "See your mother?" Yi Xiaoqi looked very hesitant. Charlotte said softly, "You look so similar. If my mother sees you, she will think that you are Minako Kyoka. I don't want to be a substitute." Yi Xiaoqi's voice was very small. "No, you're not a substitute for Minako Kyoka," Charlotte said. I have been very unhappy in the past 2 years, but I have finally come out of the sadness of losing Minako Kyoka. Do you know, at the door of the coffee shop today, I felt very close to you when I saw you. Although you look very similar to Minako Kyoka, I know you're not Minako Kyoka, and I will not see you as Minako Kyoka. You are you, Miss Yi, please believe me. Yi Xiaoqi's heart was nervous, excited, and happy. She tentatively said, "What do you want to say?" Charlotte hesitated for a moment, summoned up his courage, and said, "I like you. I fell in love with you at first sight. Miss Yi, promise me, be my girlfriend." Yi Xiaoqi was at a loss. "I know it's very abrupt, but I really can't resist your temptation and my impulse to you." Charlotte stared at Yi Xiaoqi. "Miss Yi, promise me, I will be very good to you. I want you to be the happiest woman in the world." Mr. Kato Kinsuk, isn't this too fast? Although she said so, she was very willing in her heart. "Miss Yi, love knows no borders, and there is no time limit. Please believe me, our meeting is fate. You are the woman I am destined to marry, and I am the man you are destined to marry," Charlotte said very vividly. Yi Xiaoqi was still acting, pretending to be reserved. Charlotte sighed. "This is really too fast. I will give you some time to think about it. During this time, I will also let you see my sincerity. Well, let's drink." Yi Xiaoqi secretly pinched her own white thigh and scolded herself. "Why are you pretending to be a lady? You will never encounter such an opportunity again in your life." Charlotte poured 2 glasses of red wine, gave one to Yi Xiaoqi, and then clinked glasses with her. "To our encounter, cheers." Yi Xiaoqi was also straightforward and drank the red wine in the glass in one gulp. "Mr. Kato Kinsuk, what business are you doing in China?" Yi Xiaoqi began to sound out Charlotte's family background. Charlotte said, "I am in international trade. Well, I have been buying weapons for my Middle Eastern clients. Alas, I don't know which company to choose here. I know that the Hanwu Weapon Company in China is an old military factory, but the Thunder Horse Military Factory has emerged again, and it is very prosperous, especially the Thunder Horse Military Factory's XL 2500 sniper rifle, which is said to be the best sniper rifle in the world." "Are you in the arms business?" Yi Xiaoqi looked very surprised. Charlotte smiled. "Not only arms, but also diamonds in South Africa and oil in Iraq. I will do anything to make money. It's just that I am too busy flying around the world all day long. If you can help me, I will be more relaxed." Yi Xiaoqi thought for a moment. "I am not very familiar with other businesses, but the arms business is my strength. You may not know, but I am the chief secretary of Yi Kuan of the Hanwu Weapon Company." You are Yi Kuan's secretary?" Xiaolei looked surprised, then smiled. "You really can help me. How about you give me a suggestion between Hanwu Weapons Company and Thunder Horse Military Factory? Which one should I choose? You should know that my Middle Eastern customers are not short of money. They want quality products." Xiaolei was surprised. Then he smiled. "I can't give you a suggestion on such a matter at the moment. How about you give me a day to think about it and give you an answer?" Yi Xiaoqi said. "No problem. Let's have another drink." Charlotte smiled and poured wine for Yi Xiaoqi, then smiled and clinked glasses with her. Yi Xiaoqi was soon drunk, not because she was a small drinker, but because Charlotte had added special seasonings to her wine. Charlotte brought Yi Xiaoqi to a royal suite in the Hilton Hotel and put her on the bed. The room was 200 square meters, and it was shockingly large. The decoration was completely classical, and everywhere revealed the atmosphere of the royal family. It was extremely luxurious. "I'm not drunk. I can still drink," Yi Xiaoqi muttered drunkenly. Charlotte removed the tapping device from her collar and put it in his pocket. Then he opened her handbag and looked through the contents. The main point was Yi Xiaoqi's phone. He took out her phone's memory and copied all the contents to his phone. "Yi Kuan, you bastard. You deserve to die. I got the blueprint for you, and you actually didn't give me a promotion and a raise. I hate you." Yi Xiaoqi was still drunk. Charlotte untied Yi Xiaoqi's clothes and took off her skirt and underwear. This was not taking advantage of her, but carrying out his plan. "Go away, don't touch me. I want to marry you, Mr. Kato," Yi Xiaoqi muttered, her attitude contradictory. In front of him was a beautiful snow-white scenery, towering peaks, flat abdomen, snow-white thighs, and it was undeniable that this gold digger in front of him had a certain amount of capital. She was young, beautiful, mature, and sexy. She was the image of a domineering woman in the workplace in most men's minds. Most men were also willing to sleep with her, regardless of the purpose. However, Charlotte had done something that most men would spit on. Charlotte took out a toy from his briefcase and said seriously, "Tianine, I am definitely not cheating. I am doing this for the Thunder Horse military factory." The toy began to whine. Xiaolei sat on the edge of the bed and looked at Yi Xiaoqi, who was twisting around, and the toy with a worried expression. The toy loosened, and he reached out to stabilize it. Then, he continued to maintain his sitting posture, supervising the normal operation of the toy. "Kato, my Kato, you are my everything." Yi Xiaoqi, who was delirious, was babbling nonsense. Charlotte sighed. "Rui, I am not cheating. I am doing this for her." "Stop. Why should I apologize to Rui? She won't mind if I do this. She slept with me behind Tianine's back. Will she mind if I sleep with other women besides her and Tianine?" These confessions were purely out of boredom, and also to divert his own attention. Neither Shina Tianine nor Zhang Rui could hear them. If they did, his days would definitely not be peaceful. Chapter 486. It snowed in the middle of the night. As soon as the sky brightened, the ground was covered in silver. The scenery in the north was beautiful and cold. All the dirty things were hidden under the snow. It was freezing cold outside, but inside the royal suite, it was warm, and the spring scenery was alluring. Sob, sob, sob. Yi Xiaoqi lowered her head and covered her cheeks with her hands. She didn't even bother to cover the important parts of her chest. She only cared about crying and looked sad. Charlotte comforted her and said sweet words. "Xiaoqi, I'm sorry. I love you too much. I can't help it. Don't worry, I'll take responsibility." "Sob, I didn't expect you to be this kind of person. You slept with me when I was drunk." I sob, sob, sob. Yi Xiaoqi cried again before she could finish her sentence. She cried, but there were no tears. Her hand that was covering her face opened slightly as she peeked at Xiaolei. Charlotte pretended not to see and continued to comfort the woman who was slept with. "Xiaoqi, do you want me to swear to him?" "Well, I swear to God, if I don't take responsibility, I'll be struck by lightning." Yi Xiaoqi suddenly reached out and covered Charlotte's mouth. "Don't say it. I believe you. Kato, we're already like this. I'm already your woman. How can I let you make that kind of oath? If anything happens to you, I won't live anymore." "Xiaoqi, you're so nice," Charlotte said with a smile. Yi Xiaoqi suddenly rushed over and hugged Charlotte. She said excitedly, "Kato, I love you. My love for you is deeper than the sea." Charlotte's back tingled. Yi Xiaoqi's hands started to get naughty, and her voice started to tremble. "Kato, I was drunk last night. You were satisfied, but I didn't feel anything at all. I don't want to. Let's do it again." Charlotte suddenly felt a headache. However, without waiting for Charlotte to agree, Yi Xiaoqi pushed Charlotte onto the bed and pressed him down. She was like a starving rabbit that had found a carrot. She nibbled on Charlotte's face, neck, and chest, wishing that she could stuff Charlotte into her stomach. Charlotte groaned inwardly. "If I knew, I wouldn't have woken up. I should have put on my clothes and waited for her on the sofa. What should he do now? What should we do?" While he was hesitating, Yi Xiaoqi had already crawled into bed. The next moment, Charlotte's brows furrowed. Ding dong, ding dong. The doorbell suddenly rang. Charlotte quickly struggled out of Yi Xiaoqi's entanglement and jumped out of bed as if he was fleeing. As he put on his pants, he asked, "Who is it?" "Room service." The waiter's voice came from outside the door. "Sir, you order breakfast. Let him bring it later." Yi Xiaoqi poked her head out of the bed and said unhappily, "That's not good. The food won't taste good when it's cold." Charlotte said and went to open the door for the waiter. The waiter came in with the dining card, and Charlotte had already put on his clothes. Yi Xiaoqi wrapped her body tightly with the quilt, and her face was full of disappointment. Putting aside the hundreds of millions of Kato Aishuk Kato Aishuk's handsomeness and his strong physique were enough to make her heart itch, and it was difficult to suppress her desire. However, when the good thing was about to happen, a waiter came in. How could she not be depressed and disappointed? Although the waiter left, Charlotte had already put on his clothes, and Yi Xiaoqi couldn't show too much desire. This was a big fish, which was related to a lifetime of glory, splendor, and wealth. She had to remind herself to take it slowly and not be impatient. Therefore, after the waiter left, she also got up and put on her clothes. The whole process was carried out in front of Charlotte without any concealment. Charlotte, who had been stimulated, couldn't hide his instinctive reaction, and his trousers rose high. Seeing Charlotte's reaction, Yi Xiaoqi chuckled. "Look at you. Haven't you eaten enough last night?" Charlotte laughed and said, "You are so charming. No matter how much I eat, I can't be full. I want to eat for the rest of my life. I will let you eat enough tonight." Yi Xiaoqi looked coquettish. Charlotte secretly said in his heart, "What excuse should I find for not going to the appointment tonight?" After breakfast, Charlotte drove Yi Xiaoqi to Hanwu Weapons Company. He opened the door for Yi Xiaoqi, and when Yi Xiaoqi got out of the car, he said, "Dear Xiaoqi, you promised to give me a suggestion. Can you give me a suggestion today?" Yi Xiaoqi said, "Don't worry, I will definitely give you a good suggestion. But you have to tell me, what kind of weapons does your client want to buy? How many does he want to buy?" Charlotte said, "This time it's an order of $200 million US, mainly rifles and ammunition. My client has been disgusted with the low-level quality of the AK-47. It has almost no aim, and it can't hit an enemy even after consuming a lot of ammunition. My client wants a high-quality rifle. He is very satisfied with the quality and price of China's rifles, so I came. $200 million US is already a big order. I'll talk to Chairman Yi and see what he thinks, and then I'll secretly call you and give you a suggestion. What do you think?" Yi Xiaoqi had a flattering smile on her face. "Well, you're in charge of Hanwu Weapons Company. I will go to the Thunder Horse Military Factory to have a look," said Charlotte. "Are you going to the Thunder Horse Military Factory?" "Yes. Their XL-2500 sniper rifle is known as the most advanced sniper rifle in the world. My client is very interested in it, so I have to go and have a look," said Charlotte. "Okay then, wait for my call." Yi Xiaoqi came over and hugged Charlotte. She lightly kissed Charlotte on the cheek. Some of the Hanwu Weapons Company employees who rushed to work looked at this scene in surprise. What surprised them was the Ferrari FF supercar that Charlotte drove and his handsome appearance. Some of the female employees were even more envious and jealous. They whispered to each other, "What kind of dog sh*t luck did Yi Xiaoqi have to actually catch such a good man?" Yi Xiaoqi kissed Charlotte in public, and the purpose was to show off. She twisted her small waist and shook her full buttocks like an international model on the runway. Under the gaze of many colleagues, she walked into the headquarters of Hanwu Weapons Company. Yi Kun arrived early in the morning. He sat at his desk and read a newspaper. "Chairman Yi, why are you so early today?" Yi Xiaoqi greeted him, but she was cursing in her heart. "You fat pig, why are you still alive? This is too unfair." Yi Kun smiled. "Oh, it's Xiaoqi. You came at the right time. Make me a cup of tea." "Okay." Yi Xiaoqi went to make the tea, but she spat a mouthful of saliva into the tea before bringing it to Yi Kun. Yi Kun nodded. "Xiaoqi, I really have to thank you this time. Don't worry. If there's a suitable opportunity in the future, I'll give you a promotion. As for how you perform, it's up to you." These words seemed to have a hidden meaning. As he spoke, Yi Kun's gaze had already landed on Yi Xiaoqi's full buttocks. What kind of woman was Yi Xiaoqi? How could she not understand the meaning behind Yi Kun's words? If Kato Eagle had not appeared, she might have followed Yi Kun's playful thoughts. However, when she compared Yi Kun to Kato Eagle, it was really like comparing a horse to a wild boar. With Kato Hasuk, she wouldn't even be interested in Yi Kun, let alone being his mistress. Yi Kun thought that Yi Xiaoqi was testing his determination. He stretched out a hand and slowly grabbed Yi Xiaoqi's thigh. The thigh wrapped in the short skirt of the office lady's uniform was wearing flesh-colored stockings. It was full of delicacy. He had wanted to play with it for a long time. Yi Xiaoqi suddenly took 2 steps back, Well, Director Yi, let's talk business. You want to talk business with me? Yi Kun said with some embarrassment. Do you want to resign? Yi Xiaoqi said, Director Yi, I just made a great contribution to the company, and you want me to resign? She was also angry. Director Yi, aren't you afraid that I'll go to the Thunder Horse military factory to find Charlotte now? Hee hee. Yi Kun laughed twice. Xiaoqi, I'm just joking with you. Don't take it seriously. Tell me, what business do you want to talk to me about? My boyfriend is in the arms business. He has a big client in the Middle East. He has an order for an assault rifle worth $200 million. Yi Xiaoqi said, my boyfriend originally wanted to find the Thunder Horse military factory, but I'm from the Hanwoo Weapons Company. Of course, I persuaded him to place the order with us. Now it seems that I really shouldn't have persuaded my boyfriend. Xiaoqi, when did you have such a boyfriend? Yi Kun looked very surprised. Yi Xiaoqi said proudly, Can I have such a boyfriend? He's Japanese. His name is Kato Yusuke. Oh, by the way, he's going to Thunder Horse military factory right now. What is he doing at the Thunder Horse military factory? Yi Kun suddenly couldn't sit still and stood up anxiously. Invite him here. Yi Xiaoqi said unhurriedly, Please come here. Yi Kun said, How can the Thunder Horse military factory take a $200 million order? If Charlotte gets this order, the Thunder Horse military factory will definitely expand a little. Call your boyfriend over immediately. I want to talk to him. This. Yi Xiaoqi wanted to say something, but stopped. Yi Kun seemed to understand Yi Xiaoqi's thoughts. He said with a smile, How about this, Xiaoqi? If you can get this order for the company, I'll give you a commission of $2 million. Do you mean it? Yes. Or let's make a written contract, Yi Kun said. There's no need for that. I'll call my boyfriend right away. Yi Xiaoqi took out her cell phone and dialed the number Charlotte had told her at the Hilton Hotel this morning. The voice of Kato Yusuke came from the phone. Xiaoqi, what's the matter? You haven't reached the Thunder Horse military factory yet, have you? No, I don't know the way very well. I seem to have gone the wrong way. I really should have taken you with me. Kato Yusuke's voice. No need to go. Come to Hanwoo Weapons Company. Our chairman wants to see you. Speaking of this, Yi Xiaoqi lowered her voice. I'll give you a secret. You can go to the Thunder Horse military factory for the same assault rifle, but Hanwoo Weapons Company has a larger production capacity, and the time to complete the order will be shorter. What's going on? Don't worry about that. I'll tell you later. Yi Xiaoqi kissed the phone. Hurry up, I want to see you. Okay, I'll be right there. Kato Yusuke's voice. After ending the call, Yi Xiaoqi said to Yi Kun, My boyfriend will be here soon. Chairman Yi, you have to give him a very good price. Yi Kun was stunned for a moment, then laughed. As the old saying goes, girls go with their husbands. Now you're helping your boyfriend save money and earn money. Yi Xiaoqi said lightly, Of course. I'll have half of the money he earns now. Yi Kun secretly cursed the B*TCH in his heart, but on the surface he laughed and said, Ha, it seems that I'm definitely going to drink at your wedding. At the same time, a Ferrari FF suddenly turned on the road and drove to the headquarters of Hanwoo Weapons Company. In the car, Charlotte's lips curled into a smile. Yi Kun, I'm here. Chapter 487. When Kato Eagle was led to the office door by a security guard, Yi Kun was slightly stunned. He had a feeling of déjà vu, but this feeling came and went quickly. When Kato Hasuk spoke to him in Japanese, this feeling seemed to disappear. A person could use makeup to change their appearance, but they couldn't change their height, body shape, and temperament. However, it was difficult for ordinary people to notice these things, and Yi Kun was obviously not a professionally trained professional agent. Compared to the feeling of déjà vu in his heart, he was more willing to believe his eyes. Kato, dear, you speak Chinese very well. Don't use Japanese. Yi Xiaoqi said with a smile. Our chairman doesn't understand Japanese, and there is no Japanese interpreter here. I'm really sorry. Charlotte bowed to Yi Kun to apologize. I'm used to it. I hope Mr. Yi can forgive me. It's okay. There's nothing to apologize about. Mr. Kato, please sit down. Let's sit down and talk. Yi Kun invited Charlotte to take a seat and said to Yi Xiaoqi, make a cup of tea for Mr. Kato. Yi Kun asked her to do this kind of service in front of Kato Eagle. She was a little dissatisfied. She rolled her eyes at Yi Kun, but still went to make tea for Kato Eagle. Yi Kun looked at Charlotte and said directly, Mr. Kato, I heard that you are in the arms business? Charlotte said lightly, not only arms, but also oil and diamonds. But recently the price of crude oil has dropped a lot, so it's not easy to do business. The Middle East is in chaos, and the demand for arms is very high. I've shifted the focus of my business to the arms business. Yes, the Middle East has been fighting for thousands of years without stopping. Mr. Kato, you're a very smart businessman. It's also a smart choice for you to come here. Our Hanwoo Arms Company is the largest light arms manufacturer in China. Our company provides our army with the best quality weapons. Our company can also provide your customers with high-quality weapons, and our price is lower than the weapons in Europe, America, and Russia. Yi Kun said, while observing the changes in Charlotte's expression. Charlotte was very calm. Since Mr. Yi said it, I will say it directly. This time I came with an order of $200 million, mainly assault rifles and ammunition. In addition, I want some XL 2500 sniper rifles. My plan is to go to the Thunder Horse Arms factory. Only they are producing XL 2500 sniper rifles. If they have good assault rifles, I intend to place the order at the Thunder Horse Arms factory. Don't go to Thunder Horse Arms factory. Yi Kun said, it's just a small military factory with very limited production. In the past, customers in South America went to the Thunder Horse Army factory to buy XL 2500 sniper rifles. Take Venezuela as an example. The Thunder Horse Army factory only delivered 5 guns in the first batch. Think about it. If you place an order at the Thunder Horse military factory, how long would you have to wait to get the XL 2500 sniper rifle? Xiaolei said, but that's the best sniper rifle in the world. It's normal that it's in high demand. My client is willing to wait a little longer. Yi Xiaoqi put a cup of tea in front of Charlotte and sat down next to Charlotte. He was obviously on Charlotte's side and wanted to negotiate with Yi Kun. Yi Kun frowned. Mr. Kato, you definitely don't know that Thunder Horse Arms Factory signed an agreement with the equipment department. They can't decide to sell XL 2500 sniper rifles to foreign customers. They need to go through the equipment department's review. The XL 2500 sniper rifles produced by Thunder Horse Arms Factory are handed over to the equipment department, and then the equipment department decides the future of those rifles. Oh, there's such a thing. Charlotte pretended to be surprised. He looked at Yi Xiaoqi, giving the illusion that he was asking for Yi Xiaoqi's opinion. Yi Xiaoqi nodded. Chairman Yi is right. China has very strict control over guns. Even manufacturers can't decide who to sell the guns to. They need the approval of the equipment department before they can sell them to foreign customers. This situation is the same for our Hanwoo Weapons Company. Yi Xiaoqi. Yi Kun glared at Yi Xiaoqi. Go to your work. Yi Xiaoqi was unwilling, but she didn't dare to go against Yi Kun's wishes. Just now, she mentioned the situation of Hanwoo Weapons Company to protect the interests of Kato Hasuk, but she didn't want to make Yi Kun unhappy. Charlotte gently held Yi Xiaoqi's hand. Mr. Yi, Xiaoqi is my girlfriend. I'm talking business with you. She gave me some advice for my own good. I like her to stay by my side. Let her stay. It's working hours now. She has her work to do. Yi Kun said. Charlotte spread his hands. If you want her to leave, there's no need for me to stay. Since it's the same situation, I can talk to Thunder Horse Arms Factory directly. I think Mr. Xia from Thunder Horse Arms Factory also has a way to get approval from the equipment department. With her boyfriend's support, Yi Xiaoqi's vanity suddenly swelled, and a provocative smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. That was true. She found a billionaire. She could jump to work at Kato Hasuk's company at any time and be the boss's wife. Why would she need to pour tea for Yi Kun and be his secretary? Yi Kun was very uncomfortable, but he smiled. Xiaoqi, you're really lucky to find such a good man like Mr. Kato. All right, Xiaoqi, you can stay here with Mr. Kato. Mr. Kato, let's continue. Okay. Charlotte was very polite. Yi Kuan continued. Mr. Kato, I'll tell you the truth. I have a way to get you 50 XL 2500 sniper rifles at once. If you place an order with us, you can get everything you want, and you won't have to wait too long. If that's the case, then that's great. I'm willing to place an order with Hanwha Weapons Company, but I want to see your rifles. Charlotte said. After all, assault rifles are the focus of this transaction. Yi Kuan smiled. It just so happens that our company has developed a new type of rifle. Its performance is very advanced. Really? That's great. I want to see your rifles. Charlotte showed an anxious look. Yi Kuan said, come see the rifle in 7 days. Why we have to wait 7 days? Because it's too advanced. It's our company's top commercial secret. Yi Kuan said. Charlotte looked a little disappointed. So that's how it is. All right, I'll come in 7 days. Mr. Kato, when do you think we can sign the order? Yi Kuan asked tentatively. Charlotte smiled and said, Mr. Yi, I haven't even seen what your rifles look like. You want me to sign an order with you? I'm not a rookie who just entered the firearms business. Yi Kuan said, we are the largest light weapons manufacturer in China. Are you still worried that we'll cheat you? Don't worry, Mr. Kato. You won't lose out if you cooperate with us. Charlotte looked at Yi Xiaoqi. Yi Xiaoqi shook his head slightly. Yi Kuan cursed under his breath, but said, Mr. Kato, how about this? I can't show you the rifle now, but I can show you the blueprints. You're an experienced person. You can see how advanced our rifles are just by looking at the blueprints. Charlotte looked excited. All right, let me see. I'm an expert in this field. I can tell whether an assault rifle is good or bad just by looking at the blueprints and parameters. Yi Kuan got up and walked to the corner. He opened a safe and took out a stack of blueprints from it. The stack of blueprints was the shooting blueprints of the Storm Assault Rifle that Yi Xiaoqi had gotten from Wu Bin yesterday. Yi Kuan handed the blueprints to Charlotte. Charlotte flipped through the blueprints and said excitedly, My God, who designed this assault rifle? He's a genius. I'm sure that once it's made, it will be the most advanced assault rifle in the world. Before Charlotte could finish reading the blueprints, Yi Kuan took the blueprints from Charlotte's hands and said proudly, Mr. Kato, to tell you the truth, you're lucky to have come this time. This assault rifle will definitely rise in value in the future. If you come back to place an order after the weapons exhibition is over, it's hard to say if you will still be able to get a discount. In fact, it's hard to say if we'll even sell it to you. After all, we'll first have to satisfy the needs of our military. Charlotte looked hesitant. He had to admit that Yi Kuan was very good at business. Mr. Kato, think about it. The opportunity is right in front of you. Don't blame me if you miss it. Yi Kuan continued to persuade him. Charlotte thought for a moment. Mr. Yi, I can place an order with you. But because I haven't seen the rifle yet, I'm purely trusting in the reputation of your Hanwha Weapon Company. How about this? I'll pay a deposit of 5 million and we'll sign the contract. Huaxia or US dollars? Huaxia, of course. Yi Kuan shook his head. That won't do. It's an order of 200 million US dollars, and you're only paying a deposit of 5 million US dollars. According to the current exchange rate, you're only paying a deposit of more than 800,000 US dollars. That's too little. How about this? You pay a deposit of 10 million US dollars. Also, you have to prepare the relevant qualification materials and documents. Charlotte said, 5 million US dollars, no more. It's too risky for me to do this. Yi Xiaoqi interrupted and said, Chairman Yi, Kato has already made a concession. You should also make a concession. This is good for everyone. Besides, Kato has already shown his sincerity by paying a deposit of 5 million US dollars without even seeing the rifle. Yi Kuan pointed at Yi Xiaoqi and said with a smile, Well, for Xiaoqi's sake, I don't have any objections. Mr. Kato, when can you give me the relevant qualification materials and documents? Oh, and the deposit. When can I get it? Charlotte patted his briefcase. I've already prepared it. You can sign the contract and transfer the money now. Huh. Then let's start talking about our contract now. Yi Kuan was very happy. Charlotte also smiled. It was a natural and friendly smile. But there was a knife hidden in his smile, and it was a very sharp knife. Chapter 488. It only took a minute to sign a contract, but the negotiation took several hours. It didn't end until 5 o'clock in the afternoon when they got off work. Charlotte deposited $5 million into the account of Hanwoo Weapons Company and signed the name Kato Kawasuki on the contract. Happy cooperation. Yi Kuen's face was full of smiles as he shook hands with Charlotte. Charlotte held Yi Kuen's hand and said, "Happy cooperation. Mr. Yi, I signed this contract for Xiaoqi's sake. However, I have to remind you that according to the contract, you need to deliver 30% of the goods in 1 month, another 30% in 2 months, and all the goods will be delivered by the end of the 3rd month. If there is a delay, you need to pay a penalty of 50% of the value of the goods. If there is a serious quality problem, you need to pay double the value of the goods." Yi Kuen didn't care at all. "Mr. Kato, these contracts are written, so you don't need to remind me. But I want to remind you that when we first deliver the goods, you have to pay 50% of the total value of the goods. Prepare the money in advance. If you breach the contract, you also have to pay 50% of the total value of the goods." Charlotte said, "Money is not a problem. Mr. Yi can rest assured. Is the client in the Middle East still short of money?" Yi Kuen smiled. "Mr. Kato, it's getting late. Why don't I treat you to a drink to celebrate the success of our cooperation?" Yi Xiaoqi interrupted and said, "Let's go to the Hilton Hotel. The environment there is good." Charlotte said, "I want to go, but I have to go back to the United Arab Emirates. I have to give this contract to my client and talk to him about the Shinwoo assault rifle. You don't know, but when I was in the bathroom, my client called me to ask about the situation here. Next time, I'll treat you." "Well, it's up to you." The order was in his hand, so Yi Kuen didn't need to be so enthusiastic anymore. Yi Xiaoqi looked disappointed. "Kato, when will you come back?" Xiaolei said, "I'll probably stay there for 3 weeks." "Ah, so long?" Yi Xiaoqi didn't feel good. Charlotte walked up to Yi Xiaoqi, reached out, and hugged her. He said in her ear, "I can't bear to part with you, but a man should focus on his career. I have to be responsible for my clients. Also, if you stay here, you can help me keep an eye on the Hanwoo Weapons Company's production situation and provide me with timely updates." Yi Xiaoqi was very reluctant, but she still nodded. Charlotte added, "Don't worry. After this deal is done, you will resign from Hanwoo Weapons Company and work with me." The corner of Yi Xiaoqi's mouth revealed a trace of smile. I'll wait for you." After saying that, she held Charlotte's face and offered her fragrant kiss. This time, Charlotte did not flinch at all. He was very engrossed. He even took the initiative to stick his tongue into Yi Xiaoqi's mouth and French kissed her. Yi Xiaoqi's legs went soft, and she leaned into Charlotte's arms. Her eyes looked as if she wanted to melt Charlotte and eat him like Haagen-Dazs. Yi Kuen couldn't stand it anymore. Only then did Charlotte and Yi Xiaoqi separate. Yi Xiaoqi blushed and avoided Yi Kuen's eyes. Charlotte said awkwardly, "That's it. Goodbye. See you in 3 weeks." After saying that, he carried his briefcase and left Yi Kuen's office. 3 weeks later, the domestic weapons exhibition had already begun. At that time, it was also time for him to close the net. Winter nights came very early. Although it was only 5 o'clock, the sky was already dark. The city was lit up early. Thousands of lights were as bright as the Milky Way. The red Ferrari FF struggled on the road. It was rush hour, and even a supercar couldn't outrun an electric car. Half an hour later, Charlotte drove the Ferrari FF into an underground parking lot. When he walked out of the underground parking lot, he was no longer Kato Eagle, but Charlotte. Even the clothes on his body were changed, and there was no trace of Kato Kawasuki on his body. Charlotte called a taxi and went to Shinta Tiannin's house. In the taxi, he woke up another phone. There were several missed calls on the phone, all from Shinta Tiannin. So many calls. What's the matter? Charlotte thought in his heart, and he called back. The phone was quickly connected, and Shinta Tiannin's voice came from the phone. "Honey, what have you been busy with these 2 days? I called you, but your phone was turned off. I'm very worried about you." Charlotte's heart was soft. Business matters can't be explained clearly on the phone. "I'll talk to you at home, okay? Well, I'll wait for you at home for dinner. Bye." Shinta Tiannin's voice was very gentle. She hung up the phone. Charlotte secretly said in his heart, "I'm sorry for her, but I can't watch Rui jump off a building, can I? Alas, only by being nice to her can I not feel so guilty." He felt guilty about the matter between him and Jiang Rui. His heart was calm about the matter between him and Yi Xiaoqi, and he didn't feel guilty at all. Last night, as long as he wanted to sleep with Yi Xiaoqi, it was not difficult at all, but he would rather replace himself with a toy than touch Yi Xiaoqi, which was enough to prove his heart. Jiang Rui was an exception because there was only one Jiang Rui in the world. Back home, Shinta Tianyin opened the door for Charlotte and handed him a pair of slippers. She didn't have any arrogance on her body. She was very gentle and really a virtuous wife. When her husband got off work, she took good care of him, bringing the warmth of home to her husband. Shen Turin was watching TV in the living room. Before Charlotte greeted him, he said, "Lay your back. Let's have dinner. Let's have a good drink tonight." Charlotte said with a smile, "Okay, I'll drink with Dad." Shinta Tianyin pretended to be unhappy. "You two drink as soon as you see each other. You become wine jars." Shen Turin laughed and said, "Wine jars are wine jars. Which man doesn't drink?" Shinta Tianyin leaned close to Charlotte's ear and said, "Don't drink too much. Today is my dangerous period." Dangerous period? Charlotte was stunned for a moment and said in surprise, "Did you encounter any problems?" Shinta Tianyin gently pinched Charlotte and said with shame and annoyance, "You fool! Don't you know about a woman's dangerous period? It's the third day after her period. If you have sex today, it's the easiest to get pregnant." Charlotte, when such words came out of Shinta Tianyin's mouth, it had a different kind of seductive flavor. Charlotte's heart was tickled and melted. He couldn't wait to go into the room with her immediately to make love. Shen Turin seemed to hear a little sound, and he also changed his words. "Haha, forget it. My stomach doesn't feel well today. Let's drink another day. Let's not drink today." "Well, as you say, Dad." Charlotte agreed readily. The dinner began in a relaxed and happy atmosphere, and also ended in a relaxed and happy atmosphere. The maid came to clean up the dishes, and Shen Turin continued to watch TV. He didn't look for Charlotte to drink tea and chat with him. He focused on creating opportunities for Charlotte and Shinta Tianyin. In this family, he was the one who wanted to hold a grandson the most. The thought of holding a grandson was almost an obsession. Charlotte followed Shinta Tianyin into her room. Shinta Tianyin kissed Charlotte and said in a low voice, "I'm going to turn on the bathwater." Charlotte pulled her back. "Tianyin, why don't you ask me what I've been doing these past 2 days?" Shinta Tianyin said, "You have your own things to do. I can't ask about everything. If I do that, you'll feel that I'm too strict and don't have any space." Charlotte felt a little guilty. Tianyin, Shinta Tianyin put a finger between Charlotte's lips. "Honey, you're a person with a special identity. The things you do for the country are state secrets. You really don't have to tell me everything." How understanding, how gentle and considerate she was. Shinta Tianyin, who had become his wife, was like a different person from the previous Shinta Tianyin. Through these words, Charlotte also knew that she valued their previous relationship, as well as the importance she attached to this family. She used a broad and gentle mind to accept everything about him. Charlotte kissed Shinta Tianyin's finger between his lips, then held her soft hand and said gently, "Tianyin, it's really the luckiest thing in my life to be able to marry you." Shinta Tianyin pursed her lips and smiled. She was a little shy, but more happy. Charlotte said again, "This time, it's not about 101 innings. It's about the Thunder Horse Military Factory. Is there any problem with your military factory? What can I do for you?" Charlotte said, "No, I've almost handled it. Tell me what's going on." Charlotte said, "Do you still remember Yi Kuan and Mu Jianfeng?" Shinta Tianyin nodded and said, "Of course I remember. Did they make trouble for you again?" Charlotte smiled and said, "They bought 2 commercial spies in my factory and tried to stop me from participating in the domestic weapons exhibition." So he told the whole story. "Wait, I'm confused." Shinta Tianyin looked at Charlotte with a strange look in her eyes and said, "You said that you gave the commercial spy the blueprint of the Gale assault rifle, and that the blueprint was real. Then you pretended to be a Japanese arms dealer and went to Hanwoo Weapons Company to place an order. You even gave a deposit of $5 million. Husband, are you sure you're doing the right thing? Charlotte said with a smile. Of course I'm sure. Mu Jianfeng and Yi Kuan have been obstructing the development of Thunder Horse Military Factory. It's not the first time they've tricked me. I'm tired of being passive. This time I'm going to take the initiative and dig a big hole for them to jump into. Shinta Tianyin slightly raised the corner of his mouth and said, I still don't understand. Yi Kuan used the real blueprint to make the real Gale assault rifle. What other traps do you have? Charlotte smiled and said, the blueprint he got was missing the most important part. Without that part, the assault rifle made by Hanwoo Weapons Company according to the blueprint would be a joke. So that's how it is. You're really cunning. You even fooled me. Shinta Tianyin punched Charlotte, but in her heart, she was proud of Charlotte. Even you can be fooled, not to mention Yi Kuan, that fat guy. That's why I gave the blueprint to Yi Kuan and not Mu Jianfeng. Mu Jianfeng is too cunning and not easy to fool. Charlotte said. Shinta Tianyin hugged Charlotte's waist. You have to remember, no matter who the opponent is, you're not fighting alone. I'm your wife, your opponent is my opponent, and your enemy is my enemy. Charlotte was touched, and he kissed Shinta Tianyin's cherry lips. A minute later, Shinta Tianyin's face was red, and she said while panting, I'll go fill the bathtub first. Charlotte, however, carried her by the waist and walked to the bed. We'll bathe later, okay? Shinta Tianyin already knew what was going to happen. She closed her eyes and nodded shyly. The following night was destined to not be quiet. Chapter 489. Hanwoo Weapons Company Headquarters Building, Chairman's Office. Yi Xiaoqi placed a cup of tea with saliva on Yi Kuan's desk. Then, she went outside and took out her phone to call Kato Hasuk. Unfortunately, Kato Hasuk's phone was turned off. She couldn't get through at all. Why is his phone turned off? Even if he's in the UAE, he wouldn't mind an international call, right? Did something happen to him? Yi Xiaoqi's heart was full of speculation, and her mood was down. A woman like her wouldn't really fall in love with a man. What she was worried about was Kato Hasuk's money and the things she could get from him. Yes. Yi Kuan appeared at the door with a sarcastic smile on his lips. Why? Didn't your boyfriend answer your call? Yi Xiaoqi was slightly stunned. She didn't look back at Yi Kuan. Suddenly, she said to the phone that didn't respond, Kato, it's windy and dusty over there. Be careful when you go out and drive. It's best to prepare a dust mask. Wear a dust mask when you're outside. I'm fine. You're so concerned about me. Yes, I'll wait for you to come back. This time, it was Yi Kuan's turn to be stunned. He thought that Kato Hasuk was just playing with Yi Xiaoqi, but he didn't expect that the two of them really had something going on. Yi Xiaoqi put down her phone and turned to look at Yi Kuan. Chairman Yi, what's the matter? Yi Kuan laughed dryly. Nothing. I just wanted to remind you that the Japanese can't be trusted. If he's really good to you, it's okay for you to be with him. If he just wants to play with you, I'll give you a piece of advice. Don't do anything stupid. Yi Xiaoqi felt very uncomfortable. Chairman Yi, what are you trying to say? Yi Kuan sneered. Don't you understand what I mean? You're a member of Hanwoo Weapons Company. As long as you're still working here, you have to be careful. Don't be a traitor. Chairman Yi Xiaoqi's face turned red. She wanted to refute, but she instantly lost her courage. At this time, she couldn't help but ponder in her heart. Kato Hasuk didn't even answer her phone. If Kato Hasuk was really just playing with her, it would be stupid for her to fall out with Yi Kuan. Yi Kuan said coldly, if it wasn't for the fact that you gave me the blueprint of the Thunder Horse Military Factory, I would have fired you based on your performance yesterday. Yi Xiaoqi hurriedly stood up and smiled apologetically. Chairman Yi, look at what you're saying. I'm loyal and devoted. Otherwise, I wouldn't have brought Takasuk Kato to Hanwoo Weapons Company to place the order. Also, you can't write 2E characters in one stroke. We are relatives of bamboo roots. Only then did Yi Kuan's expression soften a little. He walked towards his desk. I had a stiff pillow last night. Give me a massage. Pervert. Yi Xiaoqi cursed in her heart, but a charming smile appeared on her face. It's my honor to serve Chairman Yi. Yi Kun sat on the large leather office chair, then put down the backrest, and the large office chair suddenly became a recliner. Yi Xiaoqi stood behind and reached out to massage Yi Kun. Her plump breasts hung down, swaying in front of Yi Kun's eyelids. Sometimes they would even fall down and touch Yi Kun's head. Soft fingers, soft breasts, and a woman's fragrance assailed his nostrils. Yi Kun's mood was extremely good, and his whole body felt comfortable. At this time, he thought of a person, Charlotte. That kid is probably still dreaming of defeating me again at the weapons exhibition and getting a big order from the military. Right? Hee hee, what awaits you is a lawsuit for infringement. I'll laugh and watch you die. Yi Kun thought in his heart. Chairman Yi, are you feeling better? Yi Xiaoqi asked in a flattering tone. Yi Kun smiled and turned his hand over. In an instant, he hugged Yi Xiaoqi's perky buttocks. It was plump and soft and surprisingly elastic. Chairman Yi Xiaoqi was very flustered. She struggled a little, but Yi Kun's hand was like a rope that tied her up, not letting her leave. Yi Kun smiled and said, Xiaoqi, don't you understand my feelings for you? It's better for you to be with me than with that Japanese. I could give you real benefits. That Japanese is just playing with your feelings. Yi Xiaoqi hesitated. Yi Kun then said, think about it. I can give you a promotion and a raise at any time. Also, the company's welfare housing is about to be distributed. I can give you a 200 square meter house. You have to know that it's worth millions. Can the Japanese give you all these? Don't believe his lies. Benefits are only considered benefits when you have them in your hands. Chairman Yi Xiaoqi's heart was completely messed up. Her mind was filled with the handsome face of Kato Hasuk, and then a big house, millions of annual salary, and subordinates that she could command. Yi Kun's hand slipped into Yi Xiaoqi's short skirt, and scrupulously, Yi Xiaoqi's breathing became short. She secretly said in her heart, Yi Kun has a wife and children. He can't divorce his wife and be with me. At most, he will support me and let me be his mistress. Kato Hasuk isn't here. Why wouldn't I agree? I'll get the benefits first and then wait for Kato Hasuk to come back. If Kato Hasuk is really just playing with me, I won't lose anything. Why should I put all my eggs in one basket? With this thought, Yi Xiaoqi didn't reject the lecherous hand under her skirt. Her attitude was also clear. She wanted to welcome him, but also refused. Chairman Yi, you can't do this. Don't do this. Yi Kun was already an experienced player. Yi Xiaoqi didn't hide or retreat, but said no. How could he not know what Yi Xiaoqi was thinking? In fact, he couldn't wait any longer. He pulled Yi Xiaoqi over and hugged her in his arms, kissing and nibbling. No, someone will see. Yi Xiaoqi pretended to struggle and resist, but her body was pleasing Yi Kun, using a woman's unique way to please Yi Kun. After all, this was the office. No matter how impatient Yi Kun was, he didn't dare to do anything here. However, he also had a place to do good things. He stood up and wanted to carry Yi Xiaoqi into the lounge, but he couldn't lift her up after 2 tries. Then, he dragged Yi Xiaoqi into the lounge. Yi Xiaoqi was reluctant the whole time. She said no, but she let him take off her clothes and do whatever he wanted. Just as the two of them were making love in the lounge, a pinhole camera hidden in the lounge's bookcase recorded everything that was happening. This lounge was used by Charlotte yesterday. He was also the owner of this pinhole camera. A few minutes later, Yi Kun and Yi Xiaoqi walked out of the lounge. When her back was facing Yi Kun, Yi Xiaoqi's face was full of contempt. Yi Kun, on the other hand, was satisfied and comfortable. Just then, Mu Jianfeng appeared at the office door. He looked at Yi Kun and then at Yi Xiaoqi. With one glance, he noticed that Yi Kun's pants were not zipped up, and he also saw that Yi Xiaoqi's cheeks were still red. He seemed to understand what the two of them had just done, but he didn't react at all. Teacher, why are you here? Yi Kun took the initiative to greet him. You know why I'm here. If I didn't come, would you have called me? Mu Jianfeng said lightly. Yi Kun was slightly stunned. He heard a hint of dissatisfaction in Mu Jianfeng's tone. He also guessed why Mu Jianfeng had rushed over. Miss Yi, please leave for a moment. I have something to discuss with your chairman Yi, Mu Jianfeng said. Okay. Elder Mu, Chairman Yi, you guys take your time. I'll go out for a while. Yi Xiaoqi left the office. When she left, she didn't forget to pull on her office lady skirt and underwear. Yi Kuan said, Teacher, let's talk in a lounge. Mu Jianfeng nodded and followed Yi Kuan into the lounge. Teacher, I know why you're here. I was just about to call you. Yi Kuan went straight to the point as soon as he sat down, taking the initiative to say it would more or less show some sincerity. If Mu Jianfeng said it, then there would be no sincerity at all. Mu Jianfeng didn't seem to appreciate it. Yi Kuan, I'm the person who single-handedly helped you get to where you are today. You can't forget your roots. You signed a big order of $200 million yesterday. What you sold was the Shinwu assault rifle that we developed together. You actually didn't tell me about such a thing. You're making me sad. Teacher, what are you saying? Yi Kuan looked embarrassed. Teacher, I got off work after signing the contract with the Japanese yesterday. I didn't want to disturb you, so I decided to call you today. I was just about to call, and you came. What's the big deal about being late? Okay, I believe you. Mu Jianfeng said lightly. Tell me, what are you going to do? Yi Kuan thought for a moment and said with a smile, Teacher, you should make the decision on this matter. We'll do whatever you say. Have you checked the identity of the Japanese and the qualifications of his company? Mu Jianfeng asked. I've checked. I got someone to check it yesterday. There's no problem. The Japanese is called Kato Isuk, originally from Hokkaido. He registered an international trading company in the United Arab Emirates. It deals in arms, crude oil, and everything. This company's financial strength is also very good. Yi Kuan said, Who is his client? Teacher, you know how messy the Middle East is. Besides, this is his client. It's a trade secret. We can't check it even if we want to. Mu Jianfeng nodded. As long as there's no problem with his company and money, then it's fine. It seems that you're quite careful. Okay, you can do this order. But you know what I mean. Yi Kuan smiled. Teacher, I could forget anyone but you. Don't worry. The Shinwu assault rifle is a collaboration between you and me. We led the researchers of our two companies to successfully develop it. Whether it's a military order or a foreign order, we'll divide it according to our previous agreement. Hanwoo Weapons Company gets 60%. Shenzhou Industry Group gets 40%. As for honor, Teacher will always be above me. Mu Jianfeng smiled. That's good. It's not a waste of my training. After a pause, he suddenly said, Kuan, zip it up. Yi Kuan looked down, and his face suddenly turned the color of pig liver. Mu Jianfeng said slowly, Kuan, it's okay to play, but don't let others get hold of your weakness. We are public officials after all. The checks are very strict now. Don't fail. Yi Kuan said hurriedly, I'll pay attention, teacher. It's just for fun. It'll be fine. This scene was completely recorded by the pinhole camera hidden in the bookshelf. Chapter 490. Kato Eagle disappeared, and no one could contact him. However, the disappearance of Kato Eagle did not affect the production of Hanwoo Weapons Company. In Yi Kuan's view, even if Kato Eagle was killed by terrorists in the Middle East, Hanwoo Weapons Company would not lose anything. Instead, they would earn the $5 million deposit. And the Shinwu assault rifle produced would not have to worry about military orders. In this way, he did not have to worry about sales at all. Also, if something really happened to Kato Kosuka, Yi Xiaoqi, this slut, would become his exclusive. In this way, what did he have to worry about? Shenzhou Industry Group produced some parts for Hanwoo Weapons Company, and Hanwoo Weapons Company produced the assembly. Shinwu assault rifles came off the production line, and the output was amazing. The same situation occurred in Thunder Horse Army Factory. Several production lines of Thunder Horse Army Factory were also operating at full capacity to produce Gale assault rifles. The production capacity of Thunder Horse Army Factory was far less than that of Hanwoo Weapons Company, not to mention that Shenzhou Industry Group was backing Hanwoo Weapons Company and processing some parts. Although Rema Group also had two production bases processing parts for military factories, Their production capacity was certainly not comparable to Shinjo Industry Group. However, although it was the same blueprint and the same gun, the Shinwoo assault rifle produced by Hanwoo Weapons Company lacked a key shock absorber. So far, only Charlotte and Shinda Tianyi knew about this. 1 week later night, just after dinner, Charlotte got up and said, "Tianyin, I'm going out for a while." Shinta Tianyin asked, "It's so late. Where are you going? Back to the military factory? If you want to go back, I'll go with you." After being husband and wife for a long time, Shinda Tianyin became more and more inseparable from Charlotte. Go. You don't have to worry about the family." Shun Tuyi, who was eating at the table, said. Charlotte thought for a moment. "Okay, let's go. Dad, call me if you need anything." Go. "What can happen to me? I'm fine," Shun Turin said with a smile. Charlotte brought Shinda Tianyin out of the house. Shinda Tianyin wanted to get the car, but Charlotte stopped her. "You don't have to drive. Let's call a taxi. You drove back and so do I. Why did you call a taxi?" Shinda Tianyin was puzzled. Charlotte put his arm around her shoulder and walked to the gate of the neighborhood. "I'm actually not going back to the military factory. I'm going to do something." "What is it? Is it appropriate for me to come along?" Charlotte said. "It's been a week since the Thunder Horse military factory started producing the Gale assault rifle. The Hanwoo Weapons Company has also been producing it for a week. There's something I have to deal with. Otherwise, the hole I dug before will be filled." "Didn't you sign a contract with Yi Kuan?" "I did sign a contract with Yi Kuan, but he only has 1 foot in the hole. I want his entire body to fall into the hole." Shinda Tianyin lightly hit Charlotte. "You, just tell me all your plans at once. Save me the trouble of guessing. I'm about to die from anxiety, but you're still laughing here." Charlotte smiled. "It's like this. A gun has to be tested on many things when it comes off the production line. Trajectory, firing speed, range, and so on. It usually takes a week to complete all these tests. The Hanwoo Weapons Company used my blueprint to produce the Shinwoo assault rifle. It lacks the key shock absorber, and its performance is very unstable. There won't be any problems with the first or second test, but there will definitely be problems with the third test. I have an informant. Today, their technical department just finished the third test, and there's a problem." Shinta Tianyin was a smart woman. She immediately guessed what Charlotte was thinking. "You're worried that Yi Kuan will stop producing the Shinwoo assault rifle if he finds out?" Charlotte nodded. "That's the problem I'm going to solve." "How do you solve something like this?" "If there's a problem with the test, they'll definitely realize that they've been tricked." Shinta Tianyin said. "Yi Kuan is a very cunning person, not to mention Mu Jianfeng, who's much smarter than Yi Kuan. You dug this hole and made them fall into it. That's already not bad. You can't shake Hanwoo Weapons Company and Shinjo Industry Group. They're large state-owned enterprises after all. Just you wait. I'll make them fall into my hole," Charlotte said. Shinda Tianyin was unhappy. She reached out and pinched Charlotte's waist. "You're keeping me in suspense again. You only know how to bully me." Charlotte just smiled and hugged Shinda Tianyin as they left the district. As the taxi sped along the street, Shinda Tianyin rested her head on Xia Lei's shoulder. She stealthily looked at the side of Xia Lei's face, and the corners of her mouth curled into a sweet smile. She was happy. This was the first time Charlotte brought her out to do bad things. She was curious and excited, but at the same time, she wasn't worried at all. She felt that she was the safest woman in the world by Charlotte's side. Half an hour later, the taxi stopped in front of a hotel. Charlotte paid the fare and alighted with Shinta Tianyin. A motorcycle suddenly crossed the middle of the street and stopped in front of Charlotte and Shinta Tianyin. The front wheel of the motorcycle was only a few centimeters away from Charlotte's pants. The rider jumped off the motorcycle and took off his helmet. It was a face that was more delicate and beautiful than most women. He had an obvious Adam's apple. He was a real man. The rider was Qin Xiang. Qin Xiang took off her backpack and threw it to Charlotte. She greeted Shinta Tianyin. "Sister-in-law, good evening." "Hello, Qin Xiang." Shinta Tianyin was familiar with the important people around Charlotte. Qin Xiang rolled her eyes at Charlotte again. "Why did you bring sister-in-law here for such a thing?" Charlotte said, "I took her out to relax. Besides, She's just an ordinary person. There's no danger. After a pause, he said, By the way, has the target appeared? He just went in. Qin Xiang said with a smirk on her face. You watch outside. I'll go in with Tianyin. Charlotte walked to the hotel lobby with Shinta Tianyin. Qin Xiang watched Charlotte and Shinta Tianyin walk into the hotel. After a while, she said, I was supposed to play the role, but now it's Shinta Tianyin's role. Is he training Shinta Tianyin to be a couple? She's a millionaire with a net worth of 100 billion. Is it appropriate? Shinta Tianyin couldn't hear these words at all. A few minutes later, Charlotte and Shinta Tianyin took the elevator to the 8th floor. He took out a room card from his backpack and opened the door of a room. This room had been booked early in the morning. There was a laptop on the bedside table in the room. Charlotte opened the monitor and woke up the laptop. The monitor suddenly showed the image of the other room. Seeing the image on the monitor, Shinta Tianyin's face suddenly turned red. She turned around and didn't look at it anymore. On the monitor, a fat man was pressing down on a young woman and doing that kind of embarrassing thing. This man was Charlotte's target. He was Zheng Su, the person in charge of gun testing in the technical department of Hanwu Weapons Company. He was a director in Hanwu Weapons Company. The woman was very beautiful and had a hot body. She was good at pleasing men. Her name was Zhang Yingying, and she was found by Qin Xiang. A week ago, Zhang Yingying met Zheng Su by chance. One was dry wood, and the other was hot. They had a meal in this hotel on the first day they met. Of course, this room was also booked by Zhang Yingying early in the morning. In Charlotte's game, her job was very simple. That was to seduce Zheng Su, sleep with him, and then make a movie. Shinta Tianyin had his back to the laptop, but he looked at Charlotte in surprise. You planned all this a week ago? Charlotte said, Not a week ago, but 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, which was the time after Charlotte found out that Hanwu Weapons Company and Shenzhou Industry Group had bribed commercial spies in the Thunder Horse Army factory. If he wanted to fight back, he needed a complete plan. He would register a company in the United Arab Emirates and seduce Yi Xiaoqi with men and money. At the same time, he would use his beauty to plot against Zheng Su, who was in charge of gun testing at Hanwu Weapons Company. Not only that, but there were also some situations that would happen later. He had calculated and had countermeasures. This was a huge and complicated plan, and with his current brain, he wanted to come up with such a plan. It was as difficult as writing an essay. It was not difficult at all. Shinta Tianyin was stunned for a long time. Suddenly, she pursed her lips and smiled. You're too smart. It would be great if our child was as smart as you. How is that possible? Charlotte said. Shinta Tianyin curled her lips. What do you mean? Charlotte said with a smile. I'm so smart, and you're so smart. Of course, our child will be smarter than both of us. Shinta Tianyin also smiled. If it weren't for the fact that Charlotte had more important things to do, she really wanted to make that child smarter than her and Charlotte right now. On the laptop monitor, Zheng Su had already finished his conquest and was lying on the bed, exhausted. Zhang Yingying pulled the quilt over her and Zheng Su. She said coquettishly, Brother Zheng, when are you going to divorce your wife? You're not kidding me, are you? You lied to me to sleep with you. I'm telling you, if you lied to me, I'll jump off the building at your workplace and die in front of you. Zheng Su said weakly, My dear lady, how can it be so soon? Give me some more time, and I'll definitely divorce my wife. Then write me a guarantee that you'll divorce your wife. Why should I write a guarantee? You don't want to write it, do you? I'll jump off the building at your workplace tomorrow and die in front of you. Zhang Yingying acted like a chaste woman and took out a stack of A4 paper and a gel pen from the bedside table. I say, why write a letter of guarantee? Why get my salary this month? I'll buy you a gold necklace. What do you think? Sob, sob, sob. Zhang Yingying burst into tears. You said all sorts of nice things when you wanted me, and I believed you. But after sleeping with you, you didn't even write a guarantee. I don't want to live anymore. I'll kill myself right now. Zhang Yingying wanted to get off the bed. Zheng Su hugged her and said softly, Okay. I'll write it, okay. Zhang Yingying wiped away her tears and said, Then write it. Zheng Su braced himself and wrote a guarantee that he would divorce his wife and marry Zhang Yingying on a piece of A4 paper. Zhang Yingying held Zhang Su's chubby face in her hands and kissed him. "Hubby, you're the best. Let's rest for a while. I'll take another pill." Zhang Su smirked. "Let's play again." Zhang Yingying poked Zhang Su's head with her finger. "Are you a pig? You're always hungry." In the other room, Charlotte opened his backpack and took out a human skin mask. It was time for him to make his appearance. Chapter 491. In just 2 minutes, Charlotte had transformed into a completely different person. His skin was rough, his skin was dark, and his face was ferocious. He looked like a vicious villain. "How did you?" Shinta Tianyin was so shocked that she was at a loss for words. Charlotte smiled. "I made this. If you like it, I can make one for you too." Shinta Tianyin shook her head. "I don't want it. I'm going. Wait for me here." Charlotte walked out the door. Shinta Tianyin looked at the laptop screen. She couldn't help but feel excited. She had never experienced anything like this before. Everything that was happening now was novel to her. However, what made her the happiest and most touched was that Charlotte had brought her here to watch him do something like this. This meant that he really treated her as family, and she had an irreplaceable place in his heart. On the laptop screen, Charlotte opened the door with the keycard. Shinta Tianyin stared at the screen. Although the image was a little unsightly, she didn't want to look away. She wanted to know what Charlotte would do. In the room next door, Zhang Su was startled by the sudden intrusion of Charlotte. However, he was immediately exposed. He pointed at Charlotte and shouted, "Who are you? Get out!" Charlotte rushed forward, grabbed Zhang Su's wrist, and twisted it. Zhang Su immediately wailed. Zhang Yingying crawled out of the bed and slowly put on her clothes. She had a great figure. Her curves were graceful, and her skin was snow white. It was no wonder that Zhang Su would fall for her. If a woman like her really wanted to seduce a man, she would rarely slip through the net. Shinta Tianyin's brows immediately furrowed, and he couldn't help but say, "How shameless." The queen could be jealous sometimes. In the room next door, Charlotte said fiercely, "Zhang, how dare you touch my big brother's woman? Do you want to die? Who's your big brother?" Zhang Su was terrified. "You don't deserve to know who my big brother is, but I can tell you that my big brother is well respected by both the legal and the underworld in Jingdo. Even Yi Kuan has to lower his head when he sees him." Charlotte's tone was very arrogant. Zhang Su shifted his gaze to Zhang Yingying. He couldn't understand how this woman had become the woman of a big shot. At this time, Zhang Yingying knelt beside Charlotte and choked with sobs. "Brother Scar, I was wrong. Please don't tell Big Brother. If he finds out, I'll die." Zhang Su's face paled in an instant, and all color drained from his face. Charlotte coldly snorted and said, "Big Brother already knows. Otherwise, I wouldn't have appeared here." I'm dead. What do I do? What do I do?" Zhang Yingying was on the verge of collapsing. Charlotte stared at Zhang Su fiercely. "Tell me, how do you want to die? Buried alive, stabbed, strangled, or shot?" Zhang Su was so scared that he couldn't speak. "I'll choose for you. You'll feel better if you get shot." Charlotte pulled out a gun from his waist and pressed the deep black muzzle against Zhang Su's forehead. Zhang Su's legs suddenly emitted a warm current, and the blanket covering his body was quickly soaked. He was a coward by nature, and he was so scared that he peed his pants. "But my big brother is willing to give you a way out." Charlotte's tone changed, and there was a hint of a smile on his face. "Also, if you do as he says, you'll get some benefits." Zhang Su saw a glimmer of hope, like a drowning man grabbing onto a swimming ring. He hurriedly asked, What does he want me to do?" Charlotte slowly said, "My big brother was asked to do this by someone. This person is very important, so don't ask too many questions. Just do as my big brother says." "What does he want me to do?" "It's simple. You're in charge of the Hanwu Weapon Company's gun testing. This week, have you completed the Shinwu assault rifles test?" "Yes." Zhang Su calmed down a little. "The design of the gun is very unique, but it has a big flaw. The first and second tests were completely fine, and it performed very well. But the third time, there was a problem. The trajectory was erratic, the shooting range was halved, and the whole thing became unstable. It often jams and wobbles. What's your conclusion? This gun can't be manufactured. There'll be problems after firing a few clips. Even if it's manufactured, it'll be useless, Zhang Su said. When do you plan to tell Yi Kun? Charlotte asked. Zhang Su said, I originally planned to tell Yi Kun today, but he looked at Zhang Yingying and stammered. She said she's pregnant and wants to negotiate with my wife. I don't have time to see Yi Kun. I plan to deal with her problem first before going to see Yi Kun, but you came. Zhang Su was a very henpecked man, but at the same time, he was also a very lustful person. In his world, the conflict between the mistress and his wife was far more important than the company's business. This was something that Xia Lei had investigated beforehand. Otherwise, he wouldn't have arranged for this scene. All of this was actually carefully planned by him. Charlotte said, Thank goodness you didn't tell Yi Kun. Huh? What do you mean? Zhang Su couldn't understand. Charlotte said, My big brother means not to tell Yi Kun. Also, you have to change the test report on the Shenwu assault rifle. You have to write that there are no problems with the gun and that it has excellent performance. Zhang Su was in a difficult position. The consequences of doing this were very serious. Charlotte snorted. If you don't do this, your wife will see the video of you getting a room with her, and your precious daughter will never acknowledge you again. Also, my big brother will send you to hell. Zhang Su's face turned pale again. He said with a trembling voice, I can't do this. If I do this, I'll be fired. I might even be held accountable. The rest of my life will be over. My big brother has already thought about this. Charlotte took out a debit card and threw it at Zhang Su's face. There's 5 million in this card. It's enough for you to do something else. The password is the last 6 digits of the card number. You can withdraw it at any time. On one hand, there was the threat of death from the mafia, and on the other hand, there's 5 million. Zhang Su only hesitated for a few seconds before making his decision. I'll listen to you guys. Charlotte smiled. You're a smart man. You made the right choice. But I have to warn you, don't play any tricks. My big brother gave you 5 million, so you have to do as he says, or else you'll die. I won't play any tricks. Yi Kun has been an eyesore to me for a long time. At most, I'll quit working at Hanwu Weapons Company. What can he do to me? Zhang Su said confidently. Very well, that's it then. Charlotte put away his gun and yelled at Zhang Yingying. What are you still doing here? Go back and kneel before your big brother and apologize. I'll leave right now. Zhang Yingying crawled up from the floor and ran out the door in a panic. A minute later, Zhang Su was the only one left in the room. He held the debit card that Charlotte had given him and studied it for a long time. Suddenly, a smile appeared on his face. 5 million was undoubtedly a huge sum of money for an office worker. It was a sum that he might not be able to earn in his lifetime. Although Zhang Su was much better off than the average office worker, 5 million was not a small sum to him. Now, this sum of money had fallen from the sky out of nowhere. I'll go check the accounts. If the number is correct, I'll immediately go back to the company to correct the report. Zhang Su also left the room. In the room next door, Shinta Tianyin hugged Charlotte, who had just taken off his skin mask. He had a charming smile on his face. I didn't expect you to solve the problem just like that. I was just thinking that if you change your career and become an actor, you'll definitely become a big star. Charlotte also hugged Shinta Tianyin's small waist and said gently, I didn't know how to do this before. I learned it in 101 innings. There are some things that will never be fair if you go through the proper channels. I had no choice but to do this. I understand you. Shinta Tianyin said, State-owned enterprises occupy the best market. Not only are they rich, but they're also arrogant. Private enterprises don't dare to challenge them at all. You snatched the cake from Hanwu Weapons Company and Shenzhou Industrial Group. They will definitely deal with you and chase you out of their territory. You can only use these methods to defend your own interests and seek justice for yourself. It doesn't matter. No matter what you do, I'll support you. This sentence moved Charlotte. He kissed Shinta Tianyin's cherry lips. Shinta Tianyin let out a soft moan. She was instantly softened and subdued by the summer lightning. There was only one man in the world who could conquer her, and that was Charlotte. The clothes fell to the ground one by one. They collided passionately and blended together. Half an hour later, everything was quiet. "Honey, 1 month is almost up." Gu Qian, Shinta Tianyin wanted to say something, but stopped on second thought. His eyebrows were full of worry. Charlotte comforted him. "Don't worry. I got permission. Mr. Sure of 101 innings allowed me to take Gu Kawu to Japan." "How could such a thing be allowed?" Shinta Tianyin looked very surprised. "I work for them, so they have to give me some convenience." Charlotte said, "Anyway, you don't have to worry about this. Run the Wanxiang group well. I'll help you deal with other things." "Well, but I'm still worried about your trip to Japan." "It's okay. You saw it just now. I can make realistic human skin masks. I can change my appearance and go to Japan. No one can recognize me. But Gu Qian is not easy to deal with. Didn't you say that she is now a member of the CIB? She must have helpers around her. You will be in danger." Charlotte leaned close to Shinta Tianyin's crystal ear and whispered, "The instructions given to me are to kill Gu Qian and Gu Kawu. I won't negotiate with her. Moreover, I'm not acting alone. The people of 101 innings will support me." Only then did Shinta Tianyin feel a little more at ease. She snuggled in Xia Lei's embrace, and there was still a blush on her face. Xia Lei's hot breath wafted into her ears, and her nerves became sensitive again. Her voice was soft and velvety. "Hubby, you're tickling me." Such words made Charlotte's heart flutter. A beast in his body seemed to be awakened and ready to move. As if feeling the change in Charlotte, Shinta Tianyin smiled shyly. "Do you remember the advice my doctor gave me? I want twins." Charlotte, Shinta Tianyin wanted children and was so anxious. What else could he do but continue to work hard? Chapter 492. 2 weeks later, at the opening reception of the International Arms Exhibition of China's National Sharp Weapons at the International Convention and Exhibition Center, a silver Rolls-Royce Phantom stopped in front of the International Convention and Exhibition Center. A handsome young man and an incomparably cold woman got out of the car and walked into the exhibition center arm in arm. "Isn't that Charlotte from the Thunder Horse Military Factory? Isn't that Shinta Tianyin from the Wanxiang Group? I heard that the two have secretly married, and the wedding will be held at the end of the year. It's not a secret. The media is all over it. The two are really a perfect match. It's enviable. Don't tell me that Charlotte is with Shinta Tianyin for Shinta Tianyin's money. What are you talking about?" Charlotte started from scratch and created a net worth of billions in just over 2 years. With such ability, will he go for Shinta Tianyin's money? I don't know what new weapons Charlotte will launch this time. Last time in Moscow, he was in the limelight. A small private enterprise is lucky to enter the arms market. Even if he is in the limelight, so what? With the pressure from Hanwoo Arms Company and Shenzhou Industrial Group, Charlotte is just a monkey under the Five Elements Mountain. He can't turn the sky upside down. You can't say that. Times are advancing, and the country is reforming. I believe that with Charlotte's strength, he will have a place in the arms market. There was a lot of discussion. Some said good things, and some said bad things. These comments fell into the ears of Charlotte and Shinta Tianyin, but the two didn't respond. They just treated it as a gust of wind blowing past their ears. Life was their own, not others. Others could say whatever they wanted. The opening reception was held in the banquet hall of the Convention and Exhibition Center. It was spacious and luxuriously decorated. When Charlotte and Shinta Tianyin walked into the banquet hall, there were already many guests inside. Some guests also moved their eyes to Charlotte and Shinta Tianyin. Just like before, many people whispered and talked about Shinta Tianyin and Charlotte. No matter where they went, they were eye-catching. Not for anything else, Charlotte's handsome appearance, strong body, and his confidence and special temperament made him the focus of attention of the opposite sex. On the other hand, Shinta Tianyin was extremely beautiful and had a very powerful aura. After marrying Xia Lei and being showered with love, she had an additional charm and sexiness to her. Coupled with her special identity as the richest woman in China, it was impossible for her not to attract the attention of others. Regardless of appearance, temperament, or ability, Xiaolei and Shinatianin were a perfect match. The combination of the two was a perfect example of marriage, which made people envious. Of course, there were also people who saw the newlyweds as a thorn in their flesh and an eyesore. Yi Kuan and Mu Jianfeng were the representatives of these people. That kid is here. In a corner of the banquet hall, the corners of Yi Kuan's mouth curled into a disdainful smile. He's probably still enjoying the gazes of the people around him, and Shinatianin. In his heart, he's probably fantasizing about shocking the world with a single brilliant feat at tomorrow's weapons exhibition. What awaits him is a painful lawsuit. Mu Jianfeng held a glass of red wine and said lightly, "Ah, Kuan, is your legal team ready?" "Of course." Yi Kuan sneered. "Just wait for tomorrow's Thunder Horse military factory exhibition. At that time, I'll make sure Charlotte can't go back." "That's good. I'll go talk to an old friend." Mu Jianfeng left the corner with Yi Kuan. Yi Xiaoqi brought a glass of orange juice for Yi Kuan. Her voice was very gentle. "Chairman Yi, drink a glass of orange juice first. You'll feel better when you drink later." "You're really considerate." Yi Kuan reached for the glass, but deliberately held Yi Xiaoqi's soft hand. That soft little hand made his heart flutter, and he thought of the happy scene with Yi Xiaoqi last night. Yi Xiaoqi pretended to be shy. "I'm already your woman. Who else would I care about if not you?" "Well, hasn't Kato Hasuk contacted you?" As soon as she heard the name, Kato Hasuk, Yi Xiaoqi's eyes were filled with a touch of hatred. "Don't mention that bastard. He lied to me. I can't get in touch with him." After a pause, she then said, "Chairman Yi, don't get me wrong. I contacted him for the company. Even if he kneels in front of me and begs me now, I won't look at him. He can't even compare to a toe." Yi Kuan liked to hear this. He said with a smile, "I told you, the Japanese can't be relied on. If you follow me honestly, you'll have a good life." "Well, I'll do whatever you want me to do." Yi Xiaoqi threw a flirtatious look at Yi Kuan. She had a whole set of ways to deal with men. "Let's go. I'll take you to see my old rival." Yi Kuan walked towards Charlotte and Shinatianin. Yi Xiaoqi followed Yi Kuan, and her eyes moved to Charlotte. Although it was the first time they met, she didn't know why, but there was a familiar feeling in her consciousness. That body shape, that height, seemed to be somewhat similar to Kato Hasuk. However, this feeling quickly disappeared. Not to mention thinking that Charlotte was Kato Hasuk. Even thinking about it in this direction was impossible. In addition, the aura of Shinatianin next to Charlotte was too strong. The closer she got, the more she couldn't help but feel a sense of inferiority. How could she calmly observe Charlotte next to Shinatianin? Xiaolei's line of sight also shifted to Yi Xiaoqi, but he only glanced at her briefly before shifting his gaze away. He had no feelings for a woman like Yi Xiaoqi. The relationship between him and Yi Xiaoqi was just a relationship of using and being used. There was nothing else. "Mr. Xia, how have you been?" Yi Kuan said with a disdainful smile on his mouth. "Mr. Yi," Charlotte also said with a smile, "we are old acquaintances and can be considered as half-friends. I have to give you a kind advice. I see that your glabella is dark. I'm afraid you're going to have bad luck recently." When did you learn to read people's faces?" Yi Kuan sneered. "But you really should change your career. If you open a feng shui shop, I'll introduce you to clients and make sure you make money." Charlotte didn't care and continued. "Also, Mr. Yi, your eye bags are very heavy and your complexion is very poor. Don't be too greedy for women recently." As he spoke, he glanced at Yi Xiaoqi. Yi Xiaoqi avoided Charlotte's eyes. Yi Kuan looked at Shinatianin. "Miss Tianin, what did your husband say? This is a very serious occasion." Shinatianin lightly said, "My husband's words have always been different from person to person. You'd better accept his advice." He. Yi Kuan laughed a few times. "I'm too talkative. You are Charlotte's wife. Why would you listen to my kind words?" "Forget it, Mr. Xia. Let's get down to business." "What do you want to talk to me about?" Charlotte said. Yi Kuan said, "The weapons exhibition will begin tomorrow. Both of us are engaged in the production of light weapons. I wonder what kind of weapons your company will bring to the exhibition." Why should I tell you? Hee hee. Are you still keeping a secret from me? It doesn't matter. I'll see you tomorrow. Yi Kun said, however, I have to remind you that you have to do your part in doing business. Don't copy other people's designs. Otherwise, you'll get into trouble. What do you mean? Charlotte looked puzzled. Don't understand? Go figure it out yourself. Yi Kun sneered, you're still young. You have time to figure it out. Don't be afraid of being taken advantage of. You'll learn to be smart after a few more lessons. I'm just afraid that some people think they're great. No matter how hard they learn, they won't learn. Yi Xiaoqi interrupted and helped Yi Kun, mocking Charlotte. Charlotte didn't have any reaction. Shinta Tianin stared coldly at Yi Xiaoqi. What did you say? Who are you? Yi Xiaoqi didn't dare to answer, nor did she dare to look at Shinta Tianin's eyes. Yi Kun said, she's my secretary. What's the problem? Shinta Tianin said lightly, so she's your secretary. What a good match. Secretary, let me give you a word of advice. You'd better think before you speak in the future. You can't just say anything, especially a person of your status. What right do you have to say such things to my husband? What are you in my husband's eyes? You're nothing. You. Yi Xiaoqi was ashamed and angry, but she couldn't refute Shinta Tianin's words. She didn't have the courage to go against Shinta Tianin. All right, Shinta Tianin, what's the point of bullying a girl? Yi Kun said tit for tat. If you have anything to say, come at me. I'd like to see how capable you two are. Charlotte said, Yi Kun, don't be complacent too early. There's an old saying that extreme joy begets sorrow. Accumulate more, or be careful of retribution. Charlotte, let's wait and see who will be the one suffering extreme joy. Yi Kun sneered and left with Yi Xiaoqi. There was no need to argue this time. Whether it was Charlotte or Yi Kun, they weren't people who could be overturned with a few sarcastic words. Tomorrow would be the time to fight with real swords and spears. Today seemed to be just a small warm-up. After Yi Kun left with Yi Xiaoqi, Shinta Tianin pursed her lips and revealed a smile. Just now, I couldn't help but imagine him falling into the pit. Shoo! Charlotte took her hand and gently shook it, indicating that she shouldn't talk about it on such an occasion. Following that, Shinta Tianin returned to her Ice Queen appearance, extremely cold and aloof. Charlotte, a slightly old voice suddenly came from behind. Charlotte turned around and saw the old master of the Tang sect in Sichuan, Tang Yinhai, old Master Tang. There was also Tang Yuyin, dressed in a blue and white porcelain cheongsam, wearing the gemstone necklace Charlotte gave her on her neck. She was classical, dignified, elegant, gentle, and pleasant. Her appearance and temperament were also one in a million, which made people's eyes light up. If it weren't for Shinta Tianin, Tang Yuyin would be the most beautiful scenery at this banquet. But with Shinta Tianin, she couldn't surpass Shinta Tianin to become the focus of this banquet. Shinta Tianin's eyes suddenly moved to the gemstone necklace on Tang Yuyin's neck, and she subconsciously glanced at the gemstone necklace on her neck. However, there were many women wearing gemstone necklaces in this banquet hall, so she didn't suspect anything. What's more, she was sure that the gemstone necklace Charlotte gave her was the most precious and the only one, because it was the beloved item of the last queen of the kingdom of Jerusalem, Sibylla. Seeing Tang Yinhai, Tang Yuyin, and the gemstone necklace on her neck, Charlotte's head ached faintly. He couldn't help but secretly say in his heart, why are old Master Tang and Tang Yuyin here? The Tang family obviously doesn't do arms business, right? If not, then they're here to make trouble for me? That's impossible, right? It was a mess of conjectures. At this time, Tang Yinhai and Tang Yuyin had already walked over, followed by Mu Jianfeng. It was really a narrow road for enemies. Chapter 493. Old Man Tang, I didn't expect to meet you here. Charlotte took the initiative to greet him with a smile on his face. And Yuyin, you're really beautiful tonight. Thank you, Tang Yuyin said, then looked at Shinta Tianin and said with a smile, what? Aren't you going to introduce her to us? Tang Yinhai also said with some dissatisfaction, that's right, you brat. You didn't even tell me that you got married, and you didn't even introduce her when we met. What's the meaning of this? Charlotte smiled awkwardly and introduced, "This is my wife, Shinta Tianyin." Then he pointed his palm in the direction of Tang Yuyin and Tang Yinhai. "Tianyin, this is old man Tang, Tang Yinhai of Sichuan's Tang sect, and this is his granddaughter, Tang Yuyin." Shinta Tianyin smiled faintly. "Greetings, old man Tang and Miss Tang." This was just a simple greeting, and there were no superfluous words. Her attitude was neither cold nor cordial, and she had grasped it just right. She was Shinta Tianyin, the chairman of Vientiane Group, and Charlotte's wife. No matter which identity she had, there was no need for her to deliberately curry favor with anyone. Moreover, she had only ever curried favor with two men since she was young. One was her father, Charlotte, and the other was her husband, Charlotte. Extraordinary indeed, Tang Yinhai sighed. "Charlotte, congratulations, you found a good wife." Charlotte said politely, "Thank you." Tang Yuyin was still staring at the Sacred Heart necklace on Shinta Tiannin's neck. Shinta Tiannin didn't know the origin of the gem necklace on her neck, but she knew the origin of the necklace on Shinta Tiannin's neck. This seemed to make her a little jealous because the one Charlotte gave Shinta Tiannin was obviously much better than the one he gave her. However, being jealous wouldn't change anything. Charlotte had already become Shinta Tiannin's husband. How could Charlotte's gift for his wife be worse than the gift for his friend? At this time, Mu Jianfeng came over with a familiar smile. "Charlotte, time flies. When I first met you, you were still running a workshop in Haizhu, but now you're the chairman of Rema Group. Young man, you're amazing. Mu Jianfeng, rarely admire people. You're one of them." Charlotte said indifferently, "Director Mu, you're too polite." "I'm telling the truth. I'm not being polite with you." Mu Jianfeng smiled and said, "Charlotte, but I have to say something unpleasant. The taller trees in the forest will be blown away by the wind, and things break easily when they pass steel. You're still young and lack experience. I really think highly of you, young man. I hope you can make the right choice on some matters and not let your emotions affect your decisions." These words were implicit, but Charlotte understood what he meant. Charlotte smiled. "I appreciate Director Mu's good intentions. What you said does make sense, but those are ancient philosophies. Now that the times are improving, I like some new philosophies. I'm very interested. Let's hear it." Mu Jianfeng said. Charlotte said, "Our country is reforming, and the market is gradually maturing. Some people want to monopolize the market for the benefit of a small group of people and obstruct the progress of the country. This is no doubt a mantis trying to stop a chariot. It's suicidal." Mu Jianfeng's face darkened. He could hear Charlotte's hidden meaning. "Haha, what's the matter with you guys?" Tang Yinhai said with a smile. "I'm a martial artist. I hate these philosophies the most. Let's have a drink." Tang Yuyin waved her hand, and a waiter came over with a tray of wine. The few of them each took a glass of red wine and clinked glasses to drink. This scene seemed to be harmonious, but everyone had their own thoughts and calculations. "Miss Tianyin, your necklace is very beautiful. It's very precious, right?" Tang Yuyin stood opposite Shinta Tianyin and talked about women. Shinta Tianyin said lightly, "My husband gave it to me. It's very precious, right? Your necklace is not bad either. Where did you buy it?" "And I didn't buy it. Someone gave it to me." Tang Yuyin looked at Charlotte and chuckled. It was also given by Charlotte. Charlotte's head suddenly grew big. Tang Yuyin did this on purpose, and this was not the first time. Last time, she wrote Tang Yuyin was here, on his and specially arranged for her subordinates to send him back to Shinta Tiannin's house. Wasn't this for Shinta Tiannin to see? Now, it was not difficult to see that Tang Yuyin was still brooding over the fact that he married Shinta Tiannin. Whenever she had the chance, she would cause trouble for him. However, even though he knew her motive, he could not do anything to her. Faced with this kind of provocation, how would Shinta Tiannin react? Mu Jianfeng had a calm smile on his face, as if he was watching a show. Tang Yinhai glared at Tang Yuyin, but did not say anything to his granddaughter. Only Charlotte was nervous. He could not help but observe the changes in Shinta Tiannin's expression from the corner of his eye. In fact, He had a clear conscience about giving Tang Yuyan the necklace. Tang Yuyan had gone through life and death with him in Afghanistan. He did not want to keep the jewels he had obtained from Princess Yongmei's tomb, so he gave one to Tang Yuyan. In addition, he had also given Long Bing and Anina as gifts. However, if Shinta Tianyin had other interpretations, he could not do anything about it. Everyone was watching Shinta Tianyin's reaction. Shinta Tianyin reached out and held Charlotte's arm. With a faint smile on his lips, he said calmly, "Fortunately, he gave me the most precious thing. Otherwise, I would be jealous." This sentence almost made Tang Yuyan choke. Charlotte secretly breathed a sigh of relief. However, before he could relax, Shinta Tianyin quietly pinched his waist. This was a real pinch. It hurt. She would be lying if she said that she was not jealous. She could see that the necklace Charlotte gave Tang Yuyan was worth at least a few million. Logically speaking, it was not normal for a man to give a woman such expensive jewelry. She was not so magnanimous that she could tolerate Charlotte's philandering, not to mention that Tang Yuyan had taken the initiative to provoke her. A wry smile appeared in the corners of Xia Lei's mouth. He was starting to regret bringing Shinta Tianyin to this banquet. At this moment, music started to play in the banquet hall. Many guests started to dance on the dance floor. Tang Yuyan said with a smile, "Charlotte, can I invite you to dance?" Shinta Tianyin's face suddenly turned cold. She had already seen that Tang Yuyan liked her husband. Moreover, it was not a normal kind of like. Otherwise, Tang Yuyan would not have so blatantly tried to sow discord between her and Charlotte. Shinta Tianyin glanced at Charlotte and felt a little nervous. Charlotte coughed dryly. "Well, Yuyan, I can't dance because of my ankle. I'm really sorry." "Did you hurt your ankle? I saw that you were fine just now." Tang Yuyan did not give up. Charlotte did not want to continue arguing with her. He changed the topic. "Old Master Tang, you are not in the arms business. Why are you here?" "I am a martial artist, and I came from the military. I like weapons. Our country is holding a weapons exhibition, so of course I have to come and join the fun. I heard that the sniper rifle you make is not bad. I hope to see it at the exhibition tomorrow." "All right, do you have a service for testing guns? I want to play with Thunder Horse Military Factory's guns tomorrow." Charlotte said, "Of course we do. Our company will provide our customers with the best service, including live ammunition shooting. Only a gun that can stand the test of reality is a good gun." Tang Yuyan suddenly thought of something. "Oh right, I remember that you were researching a rifle. The very powerful one. Can we see it at the exhibition tomorrow?" She finally stopped causing trouble. Charlotte said, "Of course. It is our company's main product. My plan is to take over the domestic market first, then enter the international market. The European and American arms companies have been dominating this market for too long. I want to show the world what is truly made in China, and let the world hear our voice." Mu Jianfeng had a mysterious smile on his face, and his tone was light. "Young man, it is good to have dreams, but not all dreams will become reality. I think you have set your sights too high. You won't even be able to take over the domestic market. Don't forget that Thunder Horse Military Factory's current strength is not even worth mentioning. It is not even 1/10 of Hanwoo Weapons. And from what I know, Hanwoo Weapons will also have an outstanding product on the market this time. Hanwoo Weapons is confident that they can get the military's large order." Tang Yinhai said, "Old Mu, you are wrong. This world belongs to the young. Young people in China should have dreams and dare to fight. If we don't even have dreams and courage, then how can we talk about reviving our country? How can we talk about becoming stronger?" Mu Jianfeng did not argue with Tang Yinhai. Just then, a staff member of the exhibition walked over and handed an envelope to Charlotte. "Mr. Xia, this is the exhibition area that the management has allocated to Thunder Horse Military Factory. Take a look. After the banquet, you can let your people enter the exhibition area and set up the exhibition area." "Thank you," said Charlotte. "You are welcome." The staff member turned and left. Charlotte opened the envelope. There was a drawing of the exhibition area in the envelope. Thunder Horse Military Factory's exhibition area was near the public restrooms and was in a very remote location. And the area was pitifully small. This was an insult. How can they do this? Shinta Tianyin was angry too. Mu Jianfeng didn't even look at the drawings. Xiaolei, how about I go talk to someone and see if they can give you a change of exhibition area? Charlotte took a deep breath and tried to calm his anger. Chairman Mu, you probably know about this, right? It's okay. I don't need you to talk to me. Even if my exhibition area is in the restroom, I am confident that I can win and get the military's large order. Oh, is that so? Then I congratulate you in advance. Ha ha ha. Mu Jianfeng laughed heartily. Hubby, come with me to the restroom, said Shinta Tianyin softly. Charlotte nodded and let Shinta Tianyin hold his arm as they walked in the direction of the restroom. Tang Yuyin looked at Charlotte's legs and pouted. His legs are clearly fine, but he said he sprained his ankle. Seriously, he even accompanied Shinta Tianyin to the restroom. What a rake. Rake was a derogatory saying in Shu, due it meant a man who had no temper and was afraid of his wife. Tang Yunhai glared at Tang Yuyin. You little girl, why are you causing trouble for Charlotte in front of Shinta Tianyin? I know you like Charlotte, but this is not how you like him. You're being stupid, you know? If you continue like this, not only will you not have the chance to get the man you like, you won't even be able to be friends. Tang Yuyin sighed. I just can't accept it. Okay, I know what to do. I won't do it again. Chapter 494. Tang Yuyin came to make trouble for him, but Charlotte didn't blame her. He understood Tang Yuyin. She was a woman, and women were the most selfish animals in the world of love. Tang Yuyin couldn't forget the life and death experiences in Afghanistan and the fitting room in Moscow. He couldn't forget them either, but they were just memories. He didn't have any improper thoughts about Tang Yuyin. Shinta Tianyin didn't really want to go to the restroom. After entering the corridor and seeing that there was no one around, she stopped and turned to look at Xiaolei. She didn't say anything and just looked at him. Charlotte smiled bitterly and said, I know what you want to ask me. I'll explain. After a pause, he said, I told you that the necklace was obtained in Afghanistan. It was a mission. I found these things in a princess's grave. I didn't hand them in, but I couldn't keep them to myself, so I gave a necklace to Tang Yuyin. Not only her, but also Long Bing. I also gave Anina and Jiang Rui. Anina is the chief engineer of the Thunder Horse military factory. She is German and is wanted by Germany and the United States. Her name here is Xiaomei. If he wanted to say it all at once, he would say it all at once. Otherwise, if Shinta Tianyin found out that Jiang Rui and Anina also wore the necklace he gave her, it was hard to guarantee that she wouldn't be jealous. After listening to Charlotte's explanation, Shinta Tianyin felt a little better. She said, I'm not that stingy. I just think that Tang Yuyin went too far. Charlotte said, Don't worry about her. She is a woman who practices martial arts and is open-minded. She does whatever she wants and rarely cares about other people's feelings. Tang Yuyin writing, Tang Yuyin was here on his buttocks was an example. Shinta Tianyin smirked. I don't care about her personality. I only care about one thing. I can tell that she likes you a lot. Charlotte's head started to ache. He couldn't stop Tang Yuyin from liking him. Similarly, Shinta Tianyin couldn't stop Gu Kawu and Xiaoxian from liking her. In such a matter, the problem did not lie with him at all. How could he solve it? Promise me that you will spend less time with her in the future, okay? Shinta Tianyin stared at Charlotte. Charlotte nodded. Okay, I promise you. Shinta Tianyin smiled. How much jewelry do you have left in Afghanistan? Charlotte was slightly stunned. There's still some about 7 or 8 pieces. Why do you ask? Shinta Tianyin said, Give it to me. I want to keep it so that you don't give it to someone else in the future. I will pick 2 pieces for Xia Shui, and the rest will be my family heirlooms. They will be passed on to my daughter and son in the future. Charlotte was speechless. Shinta Tianyin smirked again. Are you going to give them to me or not? Yes. Charlotte couldn't help but laugh. I will turn them in when I get back. Shinta Tianyin took Charlotte's arm and said with a smile, I don't want to go to the bathroom. Let's go back. Charlotte let out a long sigh of relief in his heart. The conflict between the husband and wife was resolved just like that. Fortunately, Tianyin was an intellectual and reasonable woman. If it were another particularly stingy woman, Such a thing would definitely go on for several days. Back in the banquet hall, the banquet was still going on. Charlotte led Shinda Tianyin to the door. He already knew the location of the Thunder Horse Military Factory exhibition area. There was no need to stay. Tang Yin looked at Charlotte and Shinda Tianyin, who were walking to the door. Her lips moved. She wanted to say something, but didn't say it. At this moment, she and Shinda Tianyin's eyes collided. There was a faint smell of gunpowder between the two women. Charlotte, the banquet isn't over yet. Are you leaving? Yi Kuen's voice. Charlotte turned around and saw Yi Kuen standing on the podium, looking at him with a wireless microphone. Don't be in a hurry to leave. The management will invite our exhibitors and guests to visit the exhibition hall later. Don't you want to see where your exhibition area is? Yi Kuen's voice was full of ridicule. Charlotte stopped. Shinta Tianyin's elegant brows immediately furrowed. This fellow is truly hateful. Do you want to stay? If you want to stay, I'll accompany you. Charlotte said, I want to stay and have a look. Well, I'll accompany you. Shinta Tianyin's voice was very gentle. In the following time, Yi Kuen spoke on behalf of Hanwu Weapons Company, and then it was Mu Jianfeng from Shenzhou Industry Group. What the two of them said was almost the same. They were both empty words. After Mu Jianfeng and Yi Kuen spoke, there were no more representatives from the manufacturers. From this point, it was not difficult to see that the weapons exhibition was actually controlled by a Shenzhou Industry Group and Hanwu Weapons Company. These two companies were like two big crocodiles. They divided their respective territories in a river, but they worked together to occupy the entire river. This was a monopoly. Only monopolists like Shenzhou Industry Group and Hanwu Weapons Company could have such a domineering attitude. After a leader of the management spoke, the exhibitors and guests were brought to the comprehensive exhibition hall. In a huge exhibition hall, many exhibitors had already set up their booths. Many of them even had their exhibits set up. When the staff of the management brought the exhibitors and guests to the exhibition hall, there were still many employees of the manufacturers who were busy setting up their booths. It was a busy scene. The most conspicuous place in the exhibition hall was the exhibition area of Shenzhou Industry Group and Hanwu Weapons Company. Both companies had already set up their booths. There were also staff members in the exhibition area of the two companies, introducing their products to the guests. Seeing this scene, Charlotte suddenly understood why he was the only one who received the letter at the banquet. The management did this on purpose. They were the last to inform him, so that he could not set up the Thunder Horse Military Factory's booth. The management did this on purpose. They were obviously instructed by Mu Jianfeng and Yi Kuen. There was no doubt about it. Charlotte's gaze moved to Hanwu Weapons Company's exhibition area. He saw many light and heavy firearms, from pistols to sniper rifles and heavy machine guns. There were many types of products. However, one of the booths was covered by black tape, and he could not see the exhibits behind it. Charlotte's left eye twitched slightly, and the layer of black tape that covered the booth silently disappeared from his sight. He saw dozens of so-called divine assault rifles. This kind of rifle looked exactly the same as his Gale assault rifle, but it lacked the core shock absorber. Seeing the so-called divine assault rifle, the stone in Charlotte's heart completely disappeared, and a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. At this time, Yi Kuen walked over and said with a smile, Chairman Xia, do you think our exhibition area is well arranged? Charlotte nodded and said with a smile, it's very good. It's very beautiful and the location is good. Where is the Thunder Horse Military Factory's exhibition area? Yi Kuen teased, I really want to see the Thunder Horse Military Factory's exhibition area and booth. Charlotte shook his head. I only received the notice at the banquet. I didn't even know where it was before. Where would I have the time to set up the booth? Yi Xiaoqi interrupted. Chairman Yi, isn't it easy for you to find the Thunder Horse Military Factory's exhibition area? She raised her hand and pointed in the direction of the public restroom in the distance. In that direction, anyone who goes to the restroom will be able to see it. In that case, it's also a very good location. Yi Kuen laughed. Charlotte's face was calm as he looked at Yi Kuen and smiled. In fact, he was also laughing in his heart. How could a person who had already fallen into a pit have such a good attitude? Shinta Tianyin frowned and said, "What are you guys doing? Are you adding insult to injury? What do you mean by that?" Yi Kuan said with a smile, "For a small private company to be able to enter such a national defense exhibition, it's already a blessing in disguise. Do you guys want more?" "This person is greedy." Yi Xiaoqi chimed in. Shinta Tianyin was angry. "You guys," however, Charlotte interrupted Shinta Tianyin's words. "Tianyin, let's go take a look at my exhibition area. We'll go back after that. The smell here is a bit bad." "Okay." Shinta Tianyin followed Charlotte in the direction of the restroom. Yi Kuan watched Shinta Tianyin and Charlotte leave and said, "I really don't understand why a woman like Shinta Tianyin would marry Charlotte. With her qualifications, what kind of man can't she get?" Yi Xiaoqi whispered, "Chairman Yi, do you also like Shinta Tianyin?" Yi Kuan sighed. "Who wouldn't like such a woman? However, I'm old. Haha, I'm not her type. However, I'm your type." "You're so bad," Yi Xiaoqi said coquettishly. "You're not allowed to go home tonight. Go to my house." Yi Kuan smiled and nodded. The old woman at home couldn't be compared to Yi Xiaoqi, this slut. Mu Jianfeng walked over, and Yi Xiaoqi tactfully stepped back to make it easier for the two big shots to talk. Mu Jianfeng went straight to the point. "Ah Kuan, hasn't that Kato Eagle contacted you yet?" Yi Kuan said, "No, but it's not the time for delivery yet. We agreed that the first time we seize it is on the day the exhibition ends. I'm not in a hurry at all." Mu Jianfeng frowned slightly. "I don't know why, but I always feel that there's something fishy about this." "Teacher, you're too careful," Yi Kuan said with a smile. "I don't have anything to worry about the deal with Kato Eagle now. What I care about is how to deal with Charlotte tomorrow. Tomorrow, he will definitely bring his Gale assault rifle to the exhibition. At that time, my team of lawyers will teach him a lesson." Mu Jianfeng's eyes moved to the backs of Charlotte and Shinta Tianyin. After a long while, he said, "This time, if we want to deal with him, we have to kill him. Don't leave any loose ends." Yi Kuan said coldly, "I won't be lenient." Charlotte and Shinta Tianyin finally saw the exhibition area assigned to the Thunder Horse military factory by the management. It was next to the public restroom. Not only was the location very remote, but the area was also pitifully small. It was less than 20 square meters, not even comparable to a small room. This was not an exhibition area. It was simply a stall in a vegetable market. Shinta Tianyin sighed. "They're too much of a bully. Private enterprises are also enterprises of this country. How can they treat you like this?" Charlotte smiled. "There is no fairness in this world. If you want fairness, you have to fight for it yourself. I don't think it's a big deal. I believe in my gun. Not to mention this exhibition area. Even if I put it in the restroom, I have the confidence to blow up the whole audience. You know, your confidence always attracts me and fascinates me." Shinta Tianyin's eyes were full of tenderness. "But how are you going to decorate your exhibition area?" Charlotte thought for a moment. "You will know when you have time tomorrow." Shinta Tianyin frowned, then reached out and pinched Charlotte. "You're keeping me in suspense again. You only know how to bully me. I will teach you a lesson when I get back." Charlotte smiled. Chapter 495. Unsurprisingly, the Thunder Horse military factory became the laughing point of the weapons exhibition. Moreover, this laughing point was only known by a few people, because the exhibitors didn't even know where the exhibition area of the Thunder Horse military factory was. Charlotte seemed to have broken a jar and didn't set up any exhibition booths at all. He only brought a few people and some guns and ammunition to the exhibition hall. The Thunder Horse military factory's XL 2500 sniper rifle and a new sniper rifle were packed in several large boxes and pushed in with a trolley. When they arrived at the exhibition area, Charlotte had people open the boxes, spread the plastic sheets, and place the XL 2500 sniper rifle and the Gale assault rifle on the plastic sheets in a messy manner. There were also some placed on the boxes. Just like that, the exhibition tour of the Thunder Horse military factory began. This scene was like a street stall selling cabbage in a vegetable market. "Chairman Xia, this won't do." A young female employee took the initiative to volunteer. Why don't we transport 2 containers to set up a booth? We can also wear sexy clothes to attract some attention. No need. Charlotte decisively rejected the female employee's suggestion. The female employee curled her lips and didn't try to persuade him anymore. She had already planned to sacrifice her body to attract the attention of the merchants. But the boss had such an attitude. She was too lazy to say anything else. If it was a broken jar, then so be it. Qin Xiang, who had come with them, moved closer to Charlotte and whispered, "That girl's suggestion is not bad. It's just such a broken place, and there's not even a little bit of people. If you don't even set up a booth, who will know what we are doing? Why don't we let the girls in the customer service department wear sexy clothes so that we can attract some people?" Charlotte smiled. "I say, what are you guys in such a hurry for? Didn't we bring a banner? Put it up." Qin Xiang shrugged. He knew that the banner Charlotte was talking about was just a simple banner with the words Thunder Horse Military Factory printed on it. What could such a banner do? However, just as the employees were wondering if Charlotte had quarreled with Shinatianin and was deliberately acting on his own accord, Charlotte gave a second instruction. He said to the female employee who had made the suggestion, "Take 2 people with you and give my name cards to the foreign businessmen and journalists who came to the exhibition. If they ask you, just say that our Thunder Horse Military Factory has produced the most advanced assault rifle in the world, and that the assault rifles in Europe and America should be retired from the stage of history." Is this useful? The female employee who made the suggestion was puzzled. Charlotte said, "How is it useless? Just do as I say, and it'll work." The female employee who made the suggestion left with 2 female colleagues with the business cards that Charlotte had prepared. They went to look for foreign businessmen and reporters. Qin Xiang looked at Charlotte and asked, "Is this useful?" Charlotte gave the answer to the same question this time. "I defeated Barrett Company at the Moscow International Light Weapons Exhibition, as well as Belgium's FN Company and Germany's HK Company. This is our capital. Our XL 2500 sniper rifle is the best sniper rifle in the world. The European and American media have been unwilling to admit it, but the brand of our Thunder Horse Military Factory has been remembered by them. I'll ask the staff to tell them that we not only have the world's most advanced sniper rifle, but now we have the world's most advanced assault rifle. Do you think they will come and have a look?" Only then did Qin Xiang understand. He said with a smile, "Boy, this is a good idea. You've thought of it long ago, haven't you? You're really good. You made us worry for nothing." Charlotte originally wanted to say, "The emperor is not anxious, but the eunuch is anxious." But when he thought of Qin Xiang's ambiguous gender, he swallowed this joke and just said, "Hanwoo Weapons Company and Shenzhou Industry Group want to suppress us, but they have ignored one point. That is, our Thunder Horse Military Factory has long had a high reputation in the world. Hanwoo Weapons Company and Shenzhou Industry Group look down on us, but Barrett Company, HK Company, and FN Company regard us as the most threatening competitor. In such a situation, how can our Thunder Horse Military Factory be suppressed by anyone? Their own people looked down on their own people, but sometimes foreigners were closer to them than their own fathers. This was a sad phenomenon. Hanwoo Weapons Company and Shenzhou Industry Group worked together to suppress the Thunder Horse Military Factory. They looked down on the Thunder Horse Military Factory, but the Thunder Horse Military Factory was already a veritable dark horse in the military industry abroad. It was famous, and the world's best sniper rifles and assault rifles were also here. Not to mention setting up a stall next to the bathroom. Even if it was set up in the Gobi Desert, there would still be people coming from thousands of miles away to visit and discuss business. Qin Xiang pursed her lips and smiled. She raised her snow-white fist and hit Charlotte. Charlotte looked at her awkwardly. "What are you doing?" Qin Xiang did not speak to Charlotte. Instead, she approached the exhibition area and called a few girls to work. Even though Xia Lei didn't request for a display stand, he instructed a few female workers to bring out ammunition and arrange them in the shape of flowers or fruit platters on the tarp, decorating them between the XL 2500 sniper rifle and the Hurricane assault rifle. A few wooden boxes were also put to use, and they were decorated into a rough-style exhibition stand. "Sister Xiang, you really have ideas. It looks much better this way." A female employee joked. Qin Xiang giggled and said, "You guys be more flexible. When there are merchants coming later, be more enthusiastic and introduce our guns." Got it, Sister Xiang. A few female employees were very lively. Not long after, the 3 female employees who went to give out business cards returned. Only the 3 of them came over. There were no merchants or tourists. The 3 girls frowned and did not smile at all. Charlotte frowned slightly. "What's the matter? Didn't you do as I said?" The leading female employee said, "Director Xia, they are bullying us." "What's the matter? Speak." The leading female employee said, "A large group of people from Hanwoo Weapons Company and Shinjo Industry Group are watching us. Not only did they not let us enter their exhibition area to give out your business cards, but once they found out that we were talking to foreigners, they rushed up to destroy us. They did not even let us finish talking." Also, another female employee said, "Director Xia, they put a sign in the exhibition hall pointing people to the bathroom on the other side. If someone went this way, they also had someone go up and tell them that the bathroom here is broken and not to be used." Damn it. Before Charlotte could speak, Qin Xiang was already furious. "I'm going to reason with them." Charlotte grabbed Qin Xiang. "If you go to reason with unreasonable people, you might as well reason with a group of pigs." Qin Xiang said angrily, "Are we just going to let it go? I can't take this lying down." But at this moment, Yi Xiaoqi came over with a few people. "Yo, isn't this the exhibition area of the Thunder Horse military factory?" Yi Xiaoqi's face had a sarcastic smile. "Director Xia, why didn't you set up the 2 exhibition booths? Do you think you're selling vegetables in a market?" Qin Xiang was about to speak, but Charlotte dragged him behind him. He also stood in front of Qin Xiang. "Did Yi Kun make you laugh at us?" Charlotte said faintly. "Why didn't he come? Our director, Yi, specially asked me to come over to see the situation here and see if you need any help. After all, you only received the notice last night and didn't have time to set up the exhibition booth. Look, our director Yi is so kind, but you have to go against him. Why are you doing this?" Yi Xiaoqi said sarcastically while staring at the row of Gale assault rifles in the exhibition area of the Thunder Horse military factory. This kind of gaze had already betrayed her motive. Yi Kun specially asked her to come over to see if the Thunder Horse military factory had displayed the Gale assault rifle. "You've already seen the situation. We don't need anyone's help. You can go back and tell Yi Kun," Charlotte said faintly. "Oomph." Yi Xiaoqi suddenly changed her face. "Director Xia, I see that your assault rifle is the same as the assault rifle produced by our Hanwoo Weapons Company. What's going on?" Charlotte pretended not to hear clearly. "What did you say?" Yi Xiaoqi sneered and said, "Why are you pretending to be stupid? You know it yourself. Just you wait, you're in big trouble." "What did you say? Who's pretending to be stupid?" Qin Xiang walked around from behind Charlotte. She put her hands on her waist and pointed at Yi Xiaoqi, looking like she was going to fight. "Yo, who is this?" Yi Xiaoqi said sarcastically. "Charlotte, don't tell me it's your lover? Does Shinta Tianin know that he's speaking up for you?" Charlotte suddenly walked in front of Yi Xiaoqi and waved his hand to slap her. Qin Xiang was his friend. He couldn't tolerate Yi Xiaoqi insulting Qin Xiang like this. "Wait." A woman's voice suddenly came. Charlotte's palm stopped a few centimeters away from Yi Xiaoqi's cheek. He didn't need to look to know who it was, because the voice that made him wait was the voice of the person closest to him in the world. It was Shinta Tianin. Not only Shinta Tianin, but there was also a large group of people behind Shinta Tianin. Shinta Tianin walked over. Her long black dress fluttered gently, and there was an indescribable sense of otherworldly charm. The large group of people behind her were not simple either. Some were big stars in the entertainment industry, some were celebrities in the business world, and a large group of media reporters carrying photographic equipment, cameras, and microphones. Hanwoo Weapons Company and Shinjo Industrial Group worked together to suppress them. No one came here. She personally formed a group to warm up for Charlotte. This was a couple. A smile appeared on Charlotte's face. He suddenly felt that at this moment, Shinta Tianin's domineering manner was really like a queen walking in the palace. Her magnanimity, calmness, and coldness were all at the peak. "His face is so dirty. If you hit him, wouldn't your hands be dirty as well? Shinta Tianyin said indifferently. Charlotte put his hand away and said with a smile, Okay, I'll listen to you. I think so too. If I hit such a dirty face and then touch your face, won't I dirty both of us? The couple spoke one after another, not taking Yi Xiaoqi seriously at all. She was ignored thousands of miles away. Just you wait. Yi Xiaoqi stomped her feet and left angrily. Shinta Tianyin walked in front of Charlotte and generously hugged Charlotte. Then he kissed Charlotte on the cheek. Click, click, click. A series of electronic flashes flashed. Of course, the accompanying reporters would not miss this scene. Chapter 496. The people from Hanwoo Weapons Company and Shenzhou Industrial Group were up to no good. Not only were the businessmen coming over, but also the media reporters coming over. Shinta Tianyin had her own way to help her husband solve the problem. With her circle of friends and her appeal, it would be a piece of cake for her to make the exhibition area of the Thunder Horse military factory popular. Sure enough, without waiting for Charlotte's call, several A-list entertainment celebrities began to help the Thunder Horse military factory warm up. They even brought their own unplugged instruments and began to show their talents next to the exhibition area of the Thunder Horse military factory. Some sang, some danced. Celebrities were always eye-catching. In just a few minutes, the place was packed with tourists and businessmen from other places. Several female staff members of the Thunder Horse military factory were not idle either. They took the opportunity to give out Charlotte's business cards to foreign businessmen, introducing the Thunder Horse military factory's XL 2500 Gale assault rifles. The most common sentence they said was what Charlotte had taught them to say. The Gale assault rifle of the Thunder Horse military factory was the best assault rifle in the world, and the assault rifles of the European and American countries should be retired. Of course, the foreign businessmen would not believe such a statement, so they would enter the exhibition area of the Thunder Horse military factory to see the Gale assault rifle. With this, he would naturally come into contact with the real Gale assault rifle, as well as its related information. No matter who it was, as long as they saw the effective range of 1,000 meters introduced in the information, they would be shocked. What kind of concept was an effective range of 1,000 meters? One had to know that the effective range of most sniper rifles in the world was no more than 800 meters. In other words, the Gale assault rifle could be used as a medium-sized sniper rifle. Oh my God, the recoil! A blonde foreign businessman held a copy of the Gale assault rifle's English information and exclaimed, "The recoil is almost zero. That's impossible." This sentence caused a sensation. No one was willing to believe that this was true, because even if it was a pistol, the recoil was only about 2 N/S, which was equivalent to a few kilograms of shot put in one's hand. However, the recoil of the Gale assault rifle was almost zero, which meant that the recoil of the Gale assault rifle was even smaller than that of a handgun. Anyone with a little knowledge of firearms would not believe such a thing. However, the introduction of the Gale assault rifle from the Thunder Horse military factory clearly stated in black and white that the recoil was almost zero. Coupled with its effective range of 1 kilometer, it was undoubtedly the king of assault rifles in this world. There was no country or military factory that could produce assault rifles that could surpass its performance. This is impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Yeah, how is that possible? Is it a deliberate exaggeration or a misprint? Who knows? Anyway, I don't believe that there's such an assault rifle in this world. I won't believe it even if you kill me. Made in China has always been synonymous with cheap and low quality. Since when were they able to make such an assault rifle? You don't have to brag like that, do you? Don't say that. This is an assault rifle made by the Thunder Horse military factory. Their XL 2500 sniper rifle is now recognized as the world's best sniper rifle. It's not impossible for them to produce the world's best assault rifle, right? There was a hubbub of discussion. Some did not believe it, some were skeptical, and there were all kinds of opinions. Shinta Tianyin gently patted Charlotte's arm and said with a smile, "Go. It's your turn now. You don't have to worry about this side. I'll take care of it for you. Charlotte smiled. Honey, you still have a way. Thank you. The corner of Shinta Tianin's mouth curled up. You're still saying thank you to me? What are you going to thank me with? Charlotte whispered in her ear, twins. Shinta Tianin quietly blushed. She rolled her eyes at Charlotte, but her eyes were full of tenderness and deep love. Charlotte entered the exhibition area, and Shinta Tianin asked the stars to stop warming up. Even so, there were still many fans around to ask for the stars' autographs. Previously, this place was deserted and desolate. But now, this place was crowded with people, while other places had become desolate and desolate. Charlotte introduced the performance of the Gale assault rifle to the businessmen, while Shinta Tianin greeted the businessmen and directed his staff to maintain order. The couple cooperated very well, and the scene was also gratifying. Some people were happy, and some people were worried. Mu Jianfeng and Yi Kuan were worried. Previously, there was not even a single businessman in the exhibition area of the Thunder Horse military factory, let alone media coverage. But now, even the national television reporters went to the exhibition area of the Thunder Horse military factory to film and report, while the Hanwoo Weapons Company and Shenzhou Industry Group were deserted. This guy is really hateful. Mu Jianfeng's face was gloomy. Humph. Yi Kuan sneered and said, I can't help but admire his adaptability. Xiaolei and Shinta Tianin are not easy to deal with, but how long can this husband and wife pair laugh for? If Charlotte and Shinta Tianin laugh now, I will make them unable to cry, even if they want to. You're going to make a move? Mu Jianfeng asked. Yi Kuan nodded. Now that the Thunder Horse military factory has become a hot topic, the reporters are all there. It's time to make a move. After saying that, he gave Yi Xiaoqi a look. Yi Xiaoqi also picked up a walkie-talkie and said, You guys get ready. After I go over with Director Yi, you guys come over in 5 minutes. Got it, we're ready. A man's voice came from the walkie-talkie. Yi Kuan and Mu Jianfeng looked at each other and smiled, then walked towards the exhibition area of the Thunder Horse military factory. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. A large group of Hanwoo Weapons Company employees violently squeezed through the crowd, making way for Yi Kuan, Mu Jianfeng, and Yi Xiaoqi. Some people were dissatisfied, but in the face of a large group of ferocious Hanwoo Weapons Company employees, they dared not say anything. Yi Kuan and Mu Jianfeng had smiles on their faces as they calmly squeezed through the crowd and arrived in front of the exhibition area of the Thunder Horse military factory. Stop arguing, be quiet, Yi Xiaoqi said loudly. The Thunder Horse military factory is suspected of copyright infringement. Director Yi of Hanwoo Weapons Company has something to say. What was going on? The scene suddenly quieted down. Although there were people talking, they were whispering. Charlotte seemed to not hear Yi Xiaoqi's shout. He was still holding a Gale assault rifle and said to a businessman from Argentina in English, If you don't believe in the performance of our Gale assault rifle, I can take you to the place to test it. 10,000 words from me won't be more convincing than you shooting it yourself. The businessman from Argentina seemed to be a little hesitant. After all, whether it was the description in the information or the verbal description by Charlotte, the performance of the Gale assault rifle was very exaggerated. The performance was beyond the scope of his understanding of the rifle, and he didn't dare to believe it easily. Charlotte smiled. Mr. Lukaku, this is your only chance. If you don't even have the courage to try, you will miss the opportunity to make Argentina stronger. The businessman from Argentina, called Lukaku, finally nodded. Well, I am willing to go with you to test your Gale assault rifle. If what you said is true, then it really is a miracle. Okay, let's go now. Charlotte picked up a box of ammunition and was about to take Lukaku to the shooting range prepared in the exhibition hall to test the gun. Yi Xiaoqi suddenly stood in front of Charlotte and Lukaku and said rudely, Charlotte, didn't you hear what I said just now? Charlotte said lightly, What did you say just now? You're still playing the fool. I said that your Thunder Horse military factory's assault rifle infringed on our Hanwoo Weapon Company's Shenwu assault rifle. Yi Xiaoqi's mouth was full of saliva. Our chairman Yi is already here. You must give our chairman Yi an explanation. Charlotte looked at Yi Kuan and Mu Jianfeng, who was standing behind Yi Kuan, and said lightly, "Do I have to explain to any Tom, Dick, or Harry that comes?" You. Yi Xiaoqi didn't expect Charlotte to speak in such a tone. Her initial show of strength didn't work at all, but she was angered by Charlotte. Crazy. Yi Kuan was so angry that he laughed. He clapped his hands lightly and said in the applause, "Charlotte, you stole our company's patent to produce this so-called Gale assault rifle. It's fine that you stole it, but you stole it so confidently. You even dare to speak to me in such a tone. Do you really think I can't deal with you?" Charlotte just looked at Yi Kuan and didn't say anything. Yi Kuan suddenly slapped the wooden box in front of him and pointed at Charlotte. "Charlotte, you're finished this time. You stole our company's patent design. This time, I'll make you bankrupt and spend the rest of your life in prison." Charlotte still looked at Yi Kuan quietly and didn't say anything. Not only Charlotte, but even Charlotte's wife, Shinda Tianyin, just looked at Yi Kuan expressionlessly and didn't even say a word to support him. There was a lot of discussion around, and the topic was how the Thunder Horse military factory could steal the patent design of the Hanwha Weapon Company. Some believed it, and some didn't. "Charlotte, do you have nothing to say?" Yi Kuan had a superior attitude. In his eyes, the Charlotte in front of him didn't seem to be standing in the exhibition area of the Thunder Horse military factory, but standing in the defendant's seat in court, and what awaited Charlotte was a very harsh sentence. Charlotte's lips curled into a smile. "Are you done? If you're done, then scram. I don't want to talk nonsense with you. You said that I stole your Hanwha Weapon Company's patent design, but you don't have the right to say it. You have evidence. Do you have evidence?" "Evidence. The gun in your hand is evidence." Mu Jianfeng finally spoke. At this moment, a group of people rushed over. Some of these people were holding cameras, some were holding paper patent certificates, and there were also people who looked like bodyguards blocking the passage to prevent Charlotte from escaping. This lineup obviously didn't want to give Charlotte any chance. Once it was proven that Charlotte had stolen the patent of the Hanwha Weapon Company, Yi Kuan and Mu Jianfeng would detain Charlotte. "What nonsense are you talking about? Why would our Thunder Horse military factory steal your Hanwha Weapon Company's patent technology?" Qin Xiang stood up and said, "That's right. Our chairman Xia is open and honest. He's not the kind of person you're talking about." A female employee was not afraid of Yi Kuan and the large group of fierce people behind him, and stood up bravely. Charlotte said, "All of you stay here quietly. You can't help with this. Just leave it to me." "What are you going to do?" A middle-aged man in a suit and leather shoes threw a stack of paper patent certificates on a wooden box and sneered. "The Gale assault rifle produced by your Thunder Horse military factory is exactly the same as our Hanwha Weapon Company's Shinwu assault rifle, and we have the patent. What are you going to do?" The crowd was in an uproar. Chapter 497. No one doubted that the patent certificate produced by the lawyer of Hanwha Weapons Company was fake. If they dared to take it out, it meant that it was real and could be verified in court. How could this be? How could Thunder Horse Military Factory steal the patented technology of Hanwha Weapons Company? That's too bold. Someone said, "This time Thunder Horse Military Factory is finished." They even dared to steal the patented technology of Hanwha Weapons Company. Not only did they steal it, but they also dared to bring it to the exhibition. "Isn't that walking right into a trap?" "He's really something," said someone. "Ah, what a pity. It's not easy for a private enterprise to enter the arms market. Now it's finished." Someone sighed. There was a lot of discussion. Many people felt sorry for Charlotte. Charlotte remained silent. He frowned as if he was thinking about something. "Say something." The lawyer of Hanwha Weapons Company was aggressive. "How do we solve this matter?" Charlotte said, "Wait, I'll call our lawyer over." Yi Kuan sneered. "Even if you hire 100 lawyers, it's useless." "Charlotte, just wait for the lawsuit." Charlotte said calmly, "Even if I have to go to court, I have to call my lawyer over. I'm not very familiar with legal matters. My lawyer will talk to you." Charlotte took out his cell phone to make a call. He wanted to call the lawyer of Rema Group and ask him to come over. In fact, the lawyer had already been waiting outside the Kyoto International Convention and Exhibition Center under Charlotte's instructions. Then, Charlotte called Ling Hao. "Brother Ling, where are you?" Ling Hao's voice came from a phone. "I'm on my way to the exhibition center." "Haha, I'm not alone. There are some military representatives. We're here to see what good things your Thunder Horse military factory has. You don't know, but your XL 2500 sniper rifle is now very popular in the military." Charlotte smiled. "Well, I'll wait for you." "Wait, why did you call me?" Ling Hao asked. Charlotte said, "There is indeed something, but it's not convenient to say it over the phone. Since you're coming, let's talk in person. Goodbye." Charlotte hung up the phone. It was good news that Ling Hao had brought a representative from the military. It was noisy all around, so Yi Kuan and Mu Jianfeng naturally couldn't hear who Charlotte had called. However, seeing that Charlotte wasn't panicking at all and even had a smile on his face, the two of them were puzzled. Didn't this kid know how serious this matter was? "Ah, Kuan," Mu Jianfeng whispered in Yi Kuan's ear, "why do I feel like there's something fishy about this? Are you sure there's nothing wrong with this?" Yi Kuan said with certainty, "Of course not. This matter has been under my control from start to finish. Teacher, this kid is just bluffing. There's no need to worry. I want him to lose his arrogance now." After saying that, he gave a few bodyguards and a few lawyers a look. This was a signal to make a move. The exhibition of the Thunder Horse military factory is over. "All of you can leave now," a bodyguard shouted at the four merchants in the exhibition area. There were also bodyguards who went to push away the reporters and onlookers. A few lawyers from the Hanwoo Weapons Company also took action. The leading lawyer said to Charlotte seriously, "Chairman Xia, I'm sorry. We want to seize your Gale assault rifles. They are evidence that your Thunder Horse military factory stole our Hanwoo Weapons Company's patented technology. They will be used as evidence in court." Without waiting for someone to call, a few strong employees of the Hanwoo Weapons Company rushed in from the entrance of a few wooden boxes. They really wanted to seize the Gale assault rifles of the Thunder Horse military factory. Charlotte's expression was cold. "Who dares to seize it?" "Humph. Seal it." Yi Kuan sneered. "Not only your gun, you have to come with us too." Two of Yi Kuan's bodyguards suddenly reached out to grab Charlotte's arms. Charlotte suddenly raised his hands and avoided the two bodyguards' grasp. Then, he hit the two bodyguards' faces like lightning. Before the two bodyguards could even react, the bridge of their nose was hit by those fists. The huge impact shattered the bridge of their nose. At the same time, their bodies lost their balance and fell backwards. Charlotte raised his foot again. A Hanwoo Weapons Company employee who was about to seize the Gale assault rifles was kicked in the shoulder and flew out of the exhibition area from the wooden box. You dare to make a move." Yi Kuan was stunned and was about to go crazy. "Don't dare to make a move?" Just as Yi Kuan finished speaking, Charlotte grabbed another Hanwoo Weapons Company employee, lifted him up high, and threw him out of the exhibition area. That unlucky guy originally wanted to show off in front of Yi Kuan, but he didn't expect that in the blink of an eye, he would fly out of the exhibition area of the Thunder Horse military factory. He was so dizzy that he couldn't get up for a while. Qin Xiang didn't stay idle either. He kicked between the legs of a Hanwoo Weapons Company employee. Then, when that guy was covering his vitals and squatting on the ground, he kicked that person out of the exhibition area of the Thunder Horse military factory. The remaining few didn't wait for Charlotte and Qin Xiang to make another move before they all escaped. No one wanted to fly out of the exhibition area of the Thunder Horse military factory like a bird. "How dare you?" Mu Jianfeng was flustered and exasperated. He roared, go, call the police." Actually, there was no need to call the police because the police were watching from the side when the incident happened. Yi Kuan had already told them not to interfere. However, who would have thought that Charlotte would be so domineering? He actually dared to throw the people from Hanwoo Weapons Company out like grass. Just as Mu Jianfeng finished speaking, a group of police officers squeezed through the crowd and arrived at the scene. "Capture him," Yi Kuan immediately ordered. "He injured our people. Capture him immediately." The leading police officer didn't know about Charlotte's background, but he knew Yi Kuen's identity, so he didn't have to think about this matter. As soon as Yi Kuen gave the order, he immediately ordered his men to arrest Charlotte. A few police officers rushed forward to arrest Charlotte. "What are you doing?" The lawyer from the Thunder Horse military factory rushed over and said loudly, "Who gave you the right to arrest people? Let me tell you, it's easy to arrest people, but it's hard to release them." The leading police officer looked coldly at the lawyer from the Thunder Horse military factory. "Who are you?" "I am the legal counsel of the Thunder Horse military factory. The chief lawyer, AI Winching." The lawyer from the Thunder Horse military factory introduced himself. The leading police officer frowned. Lawyers were people who relied on their mouths to make a living, so they were the most difficult to deal with. When the lawyer from the Thunder Horse military factory appeared, he hesitated. After all, he didn't have an arrest warrant to arrest him. "You people have interfered with our company's normal exhibition for no reason. This is an act of infringement. You even attacked our exhibition area, destroyed our company's property, and injured our company's female employees. Who gave you such great authority?" AI Winching spoke with conviction, and his voice was loud and clear. This AI Winching was a very smart person. Otherwise, Charlotte wouldn't have hired him as the legal counsel of the Rema Group, specializing in legal matters. AI Winching's words were actually a hint. Sure enough, as soon as he said that, a few female employees of the Thunder Horse military factory covered their stomachs and moaned, pretending to be attacked. They had actually come into physical contact with the employees of the Hanwoo Weapons Company just now. The other party was a strong man, and they were all delicate women. If they pretended to be injured by the male employees of the Hanwoo Weapons Company, how many people would suspect them? A few of the police officers who were about to arrest Charlotte also hesitated. They turned around and looked at the leading police officer, wanting to get the next step. The leading police officer also had a headache. He looked at Yi Kuen. Yi Kuen said angrily, "What are you waiting for? Take him away. Seal up the things. If there's anything, I'll take responsibility." That was enough. The leading police officer then ordered, "Take him away. Don't you dare." AI Winching went forward to organize. The leading police officer said, "Take this noisy person away as well to assist in the investigation." The two police officers grabbed both of Charlotte's arms and turned them back. Immediately, Charlotte's hands were placed behind Charlotte's back. One of the police officers even handcuffed Charlotte. This way, it would be considered a real arrest. Shinta Tianyin, who had always been calm, could not hold it in any longer. She rushed up and stood in front of Charlotte. "What are you doing? How can you arrest people so casually?" "Arrest warrant? I want to see your arrest warrant." "That's right. You dare to arrest people without an arrest warrant? Who are you police officers working for?" One of Shinta Tianyin's subordinates took the lead and jeered. "That's right. In our country, is there anyone who is above the law? Isn't this too arrogant?" One of Shinta Tianyin's celebrity friends said loudly. "What right do you have to arrest people? What right do you have to arrest people?" The crowd of onlookers jeered one after another. The noise was getting louder and louder. The leading police officer's forehead was already sweating. "Take her away. Don't worry about her." Yi Kuen was also a little anxious. Mu Jianfeng was also worried that the longer this matter dragged on, the more variables there would be. He also said, "Listen to Director Yi. Take her away. What's the point of making a ruckus here? Are we still going to hold this exhibition? If something happens, none of you can bear the responsibility." Yi Kuen and Mu Jianfeng spoke at the same time. The leading police officer dispelled the last bit of worry in his heart. He waved his hand and said sternly, "Take her away. If anyone dares to stop her, I'll charge her with obstruction." Shinta Tianyin was so angry that her face was livid. However, she was not the kind of woman who would be frightened easily. She still stood in front of Charlotte and did not let the police take him away. Charlotte said, "Tianyin, get out of the way. You can just watch from the side." "But they—" Shinta Tianyin was full of worry. Charlotte grinned. "Don't worry. I'll be fine. Do you think I'll be fine?" These words suddenly awakened Shinta Tianyin. That's right. Xiaolei had been scheming against them from the start. He had dug a trap for Yi Kuen and Mu Jianfeng to jump into. Now, The two of them were just baring their fangs and brandishing their claws in Xiaolei's trap. How could they harm Xiaolei? What's more, aside from this, Charlotte's other identity was not someone that Yi Kun could easily harm. After thinking it through, Shinda Tianyin was no longer worried. She got out of the way. Several police officers escorted Charlotte out. Almost all the media reporters were crazily taking pictures of this scene. The reporters crazily taking pictures did not cause Yi Kun to worry. Instead, it made him sneer. So what if you take pictures? As long as it's confirmed that the Thunder Horse military factory stole the patented technology of the Hanwu Weapon Company, it's useless no matter how much you take pictures. Mu Jianfeng secretly breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. At this point, it could be considered to be 80% successful. The remaining 20% was just a process. However, at this moment, an angry voice suddenly came. What are you doing? Which department are you from? You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.